Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back. Welcome back to Rabbit Hole Ramblings. I am Sean Butler. I'm here with my man from Spain, Nikos, and we got Eugene joining us in a minute or two. I hope you guys are able to do us some favors. What we're going to try and do tonight, we're going to go for the same sort of recipe. We apologize, by the way, for no show during the week. Nikos and I have been trying our hardest to find a schedule that works. But life gets in the way. I've had sort of Spurs 5 and other shit in the evening. Nikos has got his kids and stuff, so it's been difficult. But Friday nights are Friday nights, so we find a way to make it work. Nikos, how are you, my man? Good to see you.
Good, my mate. Good. Nice to talk to you again. It's always a nice way to spend a Friday night and a Saturday night or whatever. Having a little ramble, having a little dig down some conspiracy holes, having a little cheeky beer. It's a nice way to spend a Friday. So yeah, all good, mate. Hope you're all right on your end. Looking forward to a bit of football tomorrow. Cheers to everybody who tunes in with a beer. You got to tune in with a beer, you know.
You got to tune in. It's only cans rules, right? Everyone, be nice in the chat. Everyone enjoy the content, and everyone, go and get yourself a beer or whatever it is your tipple. And we're gonna get on with the show. We've got Eugene joining in a little while. Make sure you smash the like button and hit the subscribe if you haven't already. But here's the thing: the first time we did this, I think we had 25 people that were watching live at the same time. Then I think session 2, I think we got to 45. Was it, Nick, or something around there? I think last week we got to 62 people that was watching at the same time. So a record for the channel. And we're going to see if we can get to 65 or something tonight. Then we're still on the march. We're still on the march. You know, good stuff. Let's see who's in the house. Sorry, what's that, Nikos?
Just saying, figuring out a good scheduling time for people to know when to log in as well might help going forward. You know, like set days, set times. You know, people might put it in their diary or whatever. But yeah, mate, let's get 65, and the next milestone is getting to 100 people rambling.
100 people rambling. It'll be good fun. Good fun. Let's see who's in the house. Destiny, big up to you, Desto. Good to see you, my man. He says, I'm made for it once I'm out for dinner. I've made it for once. I'm out for dinner. Back soon. Let's go. Yes, guys. Alex McCarthy says he went down several rabbit holes last night. What does that mean? Were you out brassing? Good boy, the brass farmer. What we weren't live last night, Desto. We weren't. Evening to the flat earthers and the globetards. Lisa, can't believe it. I'm working. We'll have to catch it later. Drop the like anyway. That's my girl, Lisa. That's my girl. Enjoy Mexico. Bet it's lovely over there right now. I'm just a Shawn Michael. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. Good to see you, Shawnee. One Spurs King. Franco out. Good to see you, mate. You've been identified as potential members for the Big Cock Appreciation Society.
I'm already in it.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't get in that one if I tried. Look who's joined us. Eugene. Good to see you, mate. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm excited. I've been waiting for this for a while, so good to talk to you boys. Nikos,
nice to
how you doing, mate?
Good, nice to see you, buddy. Hope you're all right on your end.
Not too bad.
Good to see you, Future's Bright. Good to see you, Sully. Good to see you, James.
Did Eugene do some research at the last one with a little bit of the laser experiment, just out of curiosity?
Just a bit.
Yeah, did you go do some work on the lasers?
Just a bit. Hey, I posted that video. I don't know. The scientists say that experiment. I don't know. Who knows?
So you didn't?
No, he did. He did share a video in the WhatsApp group that was about because he looked into the lasers that bouncing off of Lake Titicaca, or what's it called?
Yeah, there was an explanation for that.
Titicaca, yeah.
It's a brilliant name for a lake, by the way.
It is a good name for a lake. It'd be a better name for a brothel.
Yeah, true. Yeah. It's the a lot of them, like when you go on YouTube and you look into these videos for like the laser stuff, there's about 80% of them that are there trying to debunk it, as opposed to like
open-mindedness.
Give it credit, yeah. So it's kind of hard which ones that you pick into, you know. But
yeah, that video that you sent, Eugene, that was the science guy. I've seen him on Joe Rogan before.
Yep.
And he was doing the refraction video. And at some point you kind of go like, all right, look, refraction's a thing. But if it explains everything, like what is there no end to how far the thing can refract? Oh, and also it can also refract the other way depending on which one suits your argument. And then someone said in the comment section, I'm pretty sure that refraction doesn't exist if you do it when over water, over a frozen lake, because it's heat that makes light bend. So go and do it. Go and check the same rules out. Go and check out the same experiment over lakes in Alaska in the wintertime. You'll see the same outcomes. And the guy actually went, I'm pretty sure that refraction would still explain any curvature, but you're right. Heat does remove refraction. So
It
he's
doesn't
basically
bend
already
anything.
covering himself. Refraction's not an answer, but it is an answer.
Yeah, refractions are one of those like flimsy ones that they tend to sort of provide, but I don't think it applies to laser beams either, to be honest.
That's what I always thought. Yeah, that's what I always thought.
I don't
So
know.
Dennis,
I didn't do a deep dive on that video. I just was looking at the comments because the comments were funny. Just people just fighting and going back and forth. For me, that's more fun than actual,
Oh,
doing.
mate, it's a war out there.
What's the latest with Elon at the moment, Eugene?
Oh, I just know that he got $1 trillion payout, or from Tesla shareholders. So
yeah,
stealing money from shareholders, more like
$1 trillion pay plan.
He is the company. He is Tesla.
Certain metrics and things, and he gets a trilski.
It's an interesting one. We mentioned Elon once before, one of the previous shows, but you obviously realise the name Tesla derives from Nikola Tesla. So a lot of the ideas that he's now credited for are actually old ideas that have been around for a long time. Like the electric vehicles, been around for centuries. But big car companies, manufacturers, it would put them out of business overnight. 100 years ago. So yeah, these aren't new ideas that he's just revolutionized them, I guess, and made them modern, and made them a little bit more sexy.
But that's what I was saying. It's not about the ideas; it's about execution. Everybody has ideas. What's difficult is not an idea, but actually taking an idea and scaling it and executing. Right.
That's true.
So that's what
very
he's good
true.
at.
Shit salesman. But to be fair, he's not a shit salesman. He's a really good salesman, actually, to be honest.
He's very good at what he does. Very good at what he does. I'm not part of the Elon hate fan. I'm not a part of any particular model when it comes to conspiracies. I'm open-minded. Shall we see what the first video of tonight is dropping for us? Should we get us started? Let's see where we're going with this one, shall we? All right, let's drop this one here. Let's see what's going on with you.
Rockefeller was the best monopolist we've ever had. So he had a monopoly on oil and then transport and things like that. And they busted it up. So, well, what did he do? One thing he did, people don't know this, the original Model T Ford ran on corn alcohol. So a farmer could make their own fuel in their field. Why do you think he spent $1 million on funding prohibition for 8 years, which banned all fermentation, not just for drinking alcohol, just long enough to get gas stations based on petroleum out there? And then why did he fund the formation of the American Medical Association to go after and destroy natural medicine? Because pharmaceutical ingredients are all petroleum. So the big pharma companies were spun out of big oil companies. So big oil funded big.
We done that one.
Sounds familiar.
I think you and John briefly covered it. I think you and John briefly covered it.
Yeah, it's on the last show. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
I didn't actually put 2 pence on it. Actually, like I was going to say, like if you 100 years ago, THC and CBD, like from the cannabis plant, that was in 100 oil products, like from the pharmaceutical companies before Rockefeller got his hands on all of it. THC and CBD were, a mainstay in all medicines before they turned it into what it is now.
Well, there was the same issue here with hemp, right? Like the pod got outlawed because I forgot what his name was. Hearst, I think. He was the magnet, a newspaper magnet. So it was paper versus hemp, and hemp was used for everything. So a big push. He was lobbying for outlawing pot and hemp in order to sell more paper.
Yeah, interesting.
Those plants grow. I mean, I would know, but those plants grow so quickly. Literally, you can harvest them every 4 months in terms of like their produce, just their leaves, and making hemp is really cheap, easy, and
it's
quick.
very strong and durable.
Yeah, it's very durable.
Much more so than paper.
Not
Exactly.
like bamboo though. There's a bamboo conspiracy out there. That motherfucking stuff, it grows so fast. There's torture. People in the China used to have bamboo torture where they would like tie you up, tie your hands down, and then just like water a bamboo plant and then let it like just slowly get underneath your fingernails. That's how quickly that shit grows. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And that's like it's used in like construction. It's used as like what do they call it? What's the stuff when you
scaffolding?
Scaffolding, yeah, it's the scaffolding poles. Bamboo is mad. Bamboo is absolutely insane.
The thing about hemp is very like manipulative. You can do lots of stuff with hemp. You can make clothes out of it. There's there's so much you can do with it. With bamboo, it's not so much. I wouldn't like to wear a bamboo shirt,
No, you can get bamboo underwear now, and it's the most comfiest shit ever. Yeah, 100%.
Have you got 100%. Some? Have you got some?
Maybe. No, I'll show you. Hang on.
How do you know it's comfortable?
Bamboo underwear. Look, I'm not even joking. Look.
It's the first I heard it.
Everything is bambooable these days. Everything is bambooable.
Bambooable.
Yeah. Bamboo underwear. 100%. Everything. I don't know whatever they do with it. I don't know how they do it. But anyway, let's move on. Sorry, guys, for the first video being a repeat. Let's pick something else. Let's see what we're doing with this one, shall we? Let's see where we're going to go.
If this is true, this is super alarming.
Over 11,000 English nouns dropped in usage by more than 80%. Between October 2023 and February 2024, the theory is whatever powers that be and AI, they are purposely making words disappear. It's functional vocabulary. And so some of the examples that they gave were terms connected to boundary setting, identity, and memory recall. And once a word falls below 2% of network visibility, it triggers the vanishing word protocol. Reclassify it, downrank it, replace it, not delete it, just less shown, less spoken, until one day you reach for a word like integrity and it's no longer in your mouth or your feed or in your memory.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, but what I found interesting was in the book 1984 by George Orwell, explored the concept of eliminating words through the invention of newspeak, the official language of the totalitarian regime. Orwell's big idea was by eliminating words, you eliminate concepts. No words for freedom, then freedom itself becomes a foreign, even unthinkable idea.
Oh my gosh, this is what I've been saying. The ability to be literate and articulate yourself opens the door for anything. You could do anything or be anyone.
Yeah.
Words are everything.
Yeah.
This is so scary.
What makes this particularly interesting is I had a little conversation with ChatGPT and I got it to admit that this is actually part of its programming, is to eliminate these words from our vocabulary. What words specifically? I mean, I had it tell me words like man, woman, father, mother, sin, and even Jesus. Why? Let me know what you think in the comments.
Conspiracy to dumb us down. I mean, listen, it's like there's definitely no who writes anymore. No one. Have you ever? When was the last time you picked up a pen, right, and wrote? And how long did it go? I mean, it's good for you. I'm also someone. Yeah, we're preaching to the converted. Preaching to the converted. But the average person, when I was at school, you could bang out like 2,000 words, and occasionally your thumb here would start to hurt. You have to shake it out a little bit. These days, if you write more than about half a sentence, your hands aren't into it anymore because you're not into that. And I genuinely think that these are all sort of mechanisms to dumb us down. It's like what's the chloride in the water? All that shit is a mild poison, right? That it just dumbs down over time. Right?
The fluoride.
Fluoride, not chloride. Fluoride, sorry, yeah, fluoride.
Fluoride would be a bit dangerous. Well, a bit more dangerous. No, I think you're right. Yeah, I think there's like, it's not even a conspiracy. I think they're trying to make people fucking more stupid than they used to be. Literacy was a big brownie point, years ago. Do you remember cursive writing? When you was at school, did you ever have to do cursive writing? You ever see a cursive word these days? Like people can't even read it. Yeah. So it's just over the course of like a long period of time, well, not even a long period of time, over a couple of decades, people forget about words and stuff like that. So yeah. I would imagine words that are kind of like against their narrative, like Jesus and stuff. You know, they've kind of been outlawed over the last few years. You kind of noticed it as well. Like there's some search engines and stuff where, you know, you go to put buy a product and you can put like names and stuff on a can. I think Coca-Cola was one of them. You could create your own cans on the Coca-Cola website and you can write in your name and have it printed on the bottle, so like you can put your kids' names on and stuff. But they won't print Jesus, so you can't say.
Yeah, no, I've seen that. I saw that clip on Instagram as well. It might even be in my little list here. Might be my list. Yeah, it says sorry, an error has occurred when you try and put Jesus on the can, but you can put Muhammad, and you can put like anything else you want, just not Jesus.
Exactly. There's definitely a big conspiracy that goes back to one of the original first shows we did when I talked about Little Season. You know, like the Little Season is about the relationship of Christ. You know, so by kind of outlawing anything to do with Christ as your savior, you know, and stuff like that, it kind of like takes people even further away. You know, like makes him outlawed to a degree.
What are you saying, Eugene?
Processing it. No, I mean, something is happening. The question is if that's intentional by some, you know, powers that be, or is this just when things change, right? Convenience and this and that, and we just things that we've done in the past. Like, for example, you know, as you said, I tried writing last week and I was so terrible at it. I forgot how to write because all I do is type all day long. But the question is, I mean, I think when we say they, who is they, right, Nico? So when you say they want us, dumb us down, who is they? Is it intentional, or is it just where we're moving with introduction of new technologies? Some words, concepts will by default be phased out.
They is the Illuminati. They are controlled by the reptilians or the jinn or the demons, whatever you want to call them.
Jeez. It went there. That was that escalated quickly.
That's all of this, mate. All of these predictions, all of these things that have been predicted for the last 200 years, increasingly so in the last 25, 30 years, and they're all coming true bit by bit by bit. People that are behind it are in touch with some weird ass kind of interdimensional beings, mate. Like even the burning bush. You know the burning bush where was it Moses or something? Moses, the burning bush, right? DMT, bro. When you burn a bush, guess what happens? Yep. You inhale the fumes, got a bit of DMT in you. Well, you go into a different planet, you go to a different dimension. You speak with the elves. Have you ever looked into DMT, Eugene?
I was thinking about it, but no, I haven't had the balls to do it. But
I haven't
I want to do it, but
I've gone down the rabbit hole of looking into it, and everybody has the same experiences. These little elves, dancing elves that talk to you and give you some sort of message. Apparently, it's supposed to remove you from your ego. But yeah. I reckon all of that shit, all of these people that are like microdosing. There's even people that are taking like intravenous DMT, so they can essentially have that experience for on an ongoing basis, and then they can like tap back into reality and give over the secrets of whatever the elves are trying to push on. But they all come at weird, evil perspective.
Yeah, out here in Barcelona, they actually have like clinics that you can go to. It's like you go to like a class, you lay down on a yoga mat, they feed you like a little bit of DMT or whatever, and then you have like these weird experiences, and there's like a guy that walks around and makes sure that you're all right and sort of checks on you and stuff, and everyone goes through these weird experiences and panicking and screaming and all this crazy shit, like I remember
same here, like San Francisco, Santa Cruz, like a lot of hippies, like you can do it here too, but I feel like if I would do like ayahuasca, for example, it needs to be like in Peru, it needs to be with a shaman, not with some hippie like in San Francisco. Do you know what I mean? Like it needs to be a ceremony, because I feel like that's when you get the real, like the true like effect. Do you know what I mean? Versus just me
rituals,
doing
right? Rituals.
DMT in the garage. I feel like that takes away from the purpose of all this. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I think you need a bit of experience whenever you do it. You need to be with somebody that knows kind of a little bit more of what they're doing. But I remember my partner.
DMT, have you?
Yeah. I remember my partner did it as well, and she actually did it for the first time, and she's like completely anti-drugs. I was like, I was a weed smoker, so I felt like I was on DMT for about 30 years, you know, like, but when I went and did it, it was quite a traumatic experience, you know, like I think I've got a lot of demons and stuff, maybe from my past or whatever, but it was kind of like a really horrible experience. Didn't really enjoy it. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that again. My partner, who's very innocent, you know, to be fair, she went and did it, and she come back and like, she told me, oh, I've been to one of these shamans, I've been to one of the classes. And I was a bit like, oh, like, how did you get on? And she's like, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for that, you know, I'm sorry we didn't do this, I'm sorry. I'm like, fucking hell, like, go more often, you know, like, like you should see him regularly, see him every Friday or something, you know. But no, it's I think it affects people differently. I think, you know, depending on like your headspace, your mental space, I think some people should experience it, and I think some people probably should try and go another way with it. But it's a very, you know, unique experience, and you do get some sort of type of like out of body experience, and you know, the things that you experience in these very short sessions that are like 40 minutes long or something like this, like they stay with you for life. Like, it's crazy how much like a little experience like that can actually like really imprint.
Traumatic.
It's very traumatic. Yeah, that's the right word, you know. So
I'm afraid of the bad experience. I'm afraid like of being stuck somewhere for like a long time and just having a terrible experience. Like I'm afraid of that mentally. If something is quick, like I'm cool, but if something is like for hours, but like I was listening on a podcast, comedian, I don't know if you guys know Ari, like they were taking salvia. Do you guys know salvia in the UK? It was available here like in any store. So he took salvia, and then when he came back like a few minutes later, in his mind, he lived in some reality for like 6 months. He had a girlfriend, he had like a job. So like when he was inside of that trip, it lasted for 6 months, even though it was like a minute or two, which is crazy.
Does that not happen to you in even in like normal life? There's times where I'll go to sleep, right? I'll be exhausted or whatever, and I'll fall asleep at 10 p.m. and I'll feel like I've been asleep for 30 seconds, and then suddenly the alarm clock goes off, and you're like, and it's school again or something, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've slept at all. How has 8 hours gone past? And maybe you feel refreshed, maybe you've had the best sleep ever, but you don't remember any of it. And other times, you'll go to bed at 10 p.m., you'll fall asleep, and you'll have like a super long, super detailed dream, and you're fighting someone, or you're having a good time, or you're apart, whatever it might be you're doing, and then you wake up, and you go, it must be time to get up, and you look at your clock, and it's like 8 minutes past 10, and you're going like, how the hell did I squeeze all that in? I just won the Super Bowl, plus I had to go through the playoffs, plus I had to like fake, you know, I got over an injury in my whatever. But like you go through like a whole period of time, and then you wake up, it's only been a couple of minutes later. That's that Inception idea, isn't it? That a dream within a dream, it like stretches out, it magnifies down 20 times or whatever. Yeah.
I always wake up at the best bits when I'm about to start a threesome or something. It's when I always wake up, you know?
Yeah. So, why do I need to go for a piss? Damn it! And you wake up. Oh no! Please let me get back into that dream. No chance. God doesn't work that way. All right, let's crack on the next one, shall we? Let's see what the next one's given us. What are we going tonight? Let's go for another one. What are you saying, bum man? What are you saying? Let's have a look. We've got 25, 30 here. Let's go for you. No, we've done that one already, actually. Let's go for this one.
I know BlackRock very well after 50 years in the city. The previous Chancellor, George Osborne, he went to
Wait, did we do that one? No?
I know BlackRock very well after 50 years in the city. The previous Chancellor, George Osborne, he went to BlackRock for 1 day a week consultancy work for £500,000 a year. What did they expect him to do? Or was it a payoff for that which he has done? Let's say the Chancellor speaks for an hour and he quietly says to somebody at BlackRock, if I take a sip of water before I stand up, there will be no...
We did do that one before. Someone was saying we did it last week. Let's move on.
BlackRock rule the world. Financially, there's like Vanguard, BlackRock, and another company. They're in everything.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, BlackRock, State Street, and
they're buying off like all the real estate here, all the houses, and then nobody can afford homes because they're buying out everything.
Yeah, it's outrageous. They're doing it here as well.
Yeah. When I say it's all of them, I mean it's all of them. We know about Big Mike, we know about Barbie Bush, we know about what's going on in France. Well, did you see what's going on in Bulgaria? Have you seen the Bulgarian princess? Wait, let's get a little closer. I can't. Well, don't worry, you guys. It's just fitness.
What is
Cannot be
that?
real. This is not real.
That is
There's no way.
That's a
Yeah.
challenging wank.
Eugene was new to this. In the group chat the other day, I shared with him a couple of just screenshots that I kept a lot of this stuff on my phone like a few years ago. But the transgender thing is a big thing, like in the royal circles, the elites. You know, it's commonplace in our elite system today. But you know, a lot of it is obvious now. But Big Mike, obviously, Michelle Obama is a dude. I think a lot of
Well,
people.
the thing is,
100%
my
he was
challenge
a
is things that
She-
you see, even pictures, like you have no idea what's real, what's not, what's edited, what's not edited. So when you see something, I always question it. It's like, is this fake? Is this real?
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
You're stuck in a river in Egypt, mate. You're in the denial. But unfortunately, it goes back a long time, mate. This isn't a new thing that's just lasted 100 years. This goes back.
Yeah, it's the Baphomet, mate. The Baphomet, which is what they worship. He's got a pair of tits and a giant cock.
Yeah,
Right? They're into that. They're into the. I mean, I've got a pair of giant. I just haven't got a giant cock, but I've got a pair of giant tits. But I mean, like, they haven't got the. Like, they're into that shit, and that's what they want to challenge the sexual narrative. They want to challenge the gender identities. They want everybody to be a little bit confused before they take away the idea of family, and they end up making out like your children belong to the state. In 20, 30 years' time, they'll probably reduce the age of sexual consent down to numbers that would just, at the moment, everyone would go, "What? What are we doing?" But little bit by little bit by little bit, they keep eroding the fabric of society in that regard, because these motherfuckers are all into some weird ass shit.
I looked into it a lot, actually. The furthest I can get back to it is ancient Egypt. People might be familiar with the war of the Titans, whatever they call it, in Egypt between Ra and Set. And the Set lost his dick, and Horus lost an eye. So there's this like story that goes back, like
Golden phallus. They went around the underworld looking for his cock, didn't they?
yeah, exactly. So there's something about all of this that goes back for like a long time. This isn't a new thing, but the transgender thing is kind of all tied into, you know, people losing their cocks, women getting cocks. You know, like so that they're on like there's
yeah, she found it, didn't she? The Horus was it what was her name? The wife of Horus. She went to the underworld trying to find his cock, and in the end got married to his brother or something. I might be butchering the story, but basically, yes, butcher. Pardon the pun there. But he lost his cock, and then he sent her on a mission to go and find it. And I think she basically put him back together again, bit by bit, but couldn't find his cock. That's why they have phalluses everywhere. They have like in the Washington DC,
the obelisk
everywhere is a representation of Seth's cock, or Horus's cock. So whoever's cock it is,
it's Seth's cock, and Horus lost an eye. So in the great battle they had in ancient Egypt, there was a war between the two factions of power, and that's why you have the allegiance with the one eye, because it's the representation of we're on Horus's side. And then there's obviously this other weird section of transgender sexual deviants that, you know, lost a cock and found a cock and, you know, whatever.
Yeah, everyone's into a little bit of
so like going back to the story, that Kalilina, that Princess Kalilina, like she's crazy, man. Like she doesn't even look like a real person, to be honest.
That's
like you look
insane.
at her, it's like
That picture's insane. If I swear to you, if I would have seen it, like I'm like, there's no way it's real.
yeah, man, I wish I had biceps like that when I was in my 20s. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I always wanted biceps like that. You know, like you see how long those dudes' arms are. Like,
the picture of that wife in Bulgaria or Romania, where
princess, Kalina, like princess, yeah. But it goes back to all the families. Like I think I said to Eugene the other day, like the really good ones is Barbara Bush. She was married to George W. Bush. Most people probably remember, but that's clearly a dude. Like if you go back to the old
he's a dude. He's a dude. And apparently, he or she is the daughter or the son of the Satanist.
Yeah,
Alistair Crowley.
Oh, Crowley, yeah. Like this goes back to a lot of generations, and what it actually ties into is like they believe in inbreeding, so they don't like having the men in the families out having, you know, sex with loads of, you know, random women from different lineages because it dilutes the bloodline. So if they having like boy love, man love, there's no chance of them having offspring. So that's why a lot of this transgender stuff in these, especially these elite families, is so popular. Is because it's a way of like not diluting their bloodline. Like have your fun, do your thing, but the transgender thing is you're not going to have any kids, from this person. So that's why it's so prominent, especially in the Rothschild family, the Rockefeller families. They're really notorious for it.
Just a disclaimer: if the deep state or Illuminati are watching this podcast or will be in the future, the views of Nikos do not represent my views. I'm just here as an observer. So if 10 years from now Illuminati is watching this,
what are we doing here? We're all in
I'm
this
just
together.
listening in.
We're on the exposure train, mate. We're on this together, bro.
That's all right, mate. I'm a one-man band, mate. I'll happily take credit for that myself, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah, listen, on a future show, we're going to go into Nimrod, because Nimrod was one of the sons of Noah. And he was like a bit of a bad boy, right? He was apparently a bit of a donut. And rumor has it that Nimrod was buried in Iraq, and that when they went to war in 1991 to Iraq the first time, they couldn't find his grave or whatever, right? His tomb. But they found it later, and that's one of the reasons why we ended up going back into Iraq after 9/11 in 2002. And one of the first things that they did was they went and ransacked a whole bunch of tombs and a whole bunch of and they took all that shit out of there. And the story goes that they managed to find his carcass or his mummified body or whatever, so they could grab his DNA, so that they can now mix it with cloning technology, so that the Antichrist that will come back one day will actually be Nimrod.
Well, I don't know about that, mate, but I know like all those wars in the
Is that a
Middle East.
conspiracy you haven't heard of?
Oh, wow. If Nico says no, we're not doing it.
I'm not an expert on everything, mate. There's too many conspiracies these days. Back in the day, you only have to know about JFK, occasionally 9/11, and you just need to know about 3 or 4 and have a good knowledge on all the subjects. But nowadays, like with the power of information, like it's a bit overwhelming how much it goes back. But speaking of the Middle East, I know that Iraq, Syria in particular, the reasons for the war there were to destroy a lot of the old palaces. The palace of Baal was in Syria. So like the where Baal resided, his castle, his house, his empire and stuff, it all resided there. So one of the reasons they destroyed a lot of Syria and Iraq was to get rid of the buildings that were there, because it shows that the history that we've taught is obviously a lie. So a lot of it is destruction. I know people talk about stargates and stuff from Iraq and Iran and Syria and stuff like that, but I'm not too sure about the stargates, but I know that
I definitely believe in those. Scott, there's places in Chile and in Peru, like there's in the middle of fucking nowhere, like 500 miles in the middle of a desert from absolutely nowhere. There's a massive rock in the middle of the floor, and it's had a perfect door carved out of it. Like, how'd that get there? How'd they get there?
Imagine that was some geezer about fucking 500 years ago, and he decided just to chisel a doorway, and there's people like me and you talking about it 500 years later on the internet that is some sort of stuff like Stargate. Like it's,
yeah.
I mean, I've seen that load. I've seen that. Yeah, it's in the middle of the hills, somewhere in Chile, isn't it, or something like this, or Peru, or whatever it is. But it's basically, yeah, people go there. Like it's a big tourist attraction. People want to go there. They want to stand in the doorway, and it's just literally just someone just carved a little like a half an inch like depth into a rock, and made a door kind of shape out of it, like there's someone up there looking down, like laughing their ass off, like
for sure. We got to talk. Have you seen the Nazca lines?
Yeah, I love the Nazca lines.
Let's have a little chinwag. We'll press pause on the video for a minute. Let's have a little look at the Nazca lines. For those of you that are not that are watching this that are not familiar, right? Let me get some pictures up to show us, right? So this shit is in Peru, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Let me get rid of the bamboo for a second.
Yeah, for me, that was the original. That's the Nazca lines was the early look at the conspiracies or at the alien stuff.
They've done live all that recently. They've actually done loads of like new technology scans of all that area, and they found loads of new ones, like more detailed ones, bigger ones.
So these are some of the pictures, right? Guys that are watching in the chat. These things in the middle of a desert, 4,000 meters up in the air. There's no vegetation. It's in the middle of fucking nowhere. No one's lived up there in recorded history that we know of. No one's really been there. Some lady and her husband from America took a flight over that part of the world once, back in like the 40s or the 50s, and basically was looking down, and all of these things, like this giant spider, this is like over 500 meters, or like a kilometer across, or a kilometer long, and it's just desert with all of these stones that have been laid in, and the same with the monkey and all these other things. They're just stones, or like general like rocks, basically crumbling rocks that have been laid in these patterns, and they've been there because it's been untouched. There's no bad weather up there. There's no it's just like completely left alone. No one goes up there. It's miles from anywhere. Like, who the fuck did them? Who put them there? When and for what purpose?
My 2 pence on it before Eugene debunks me. I think personally there was aircraft that existed a long time ago. Like the aircraft have been given back from the Wright brothers in the last like 100 years. I think that was a technology that was handed back to us. Like, I think if you go back like 150, 200, 300 years, I think there was another type of technology that was based in the air. You know, like people are familiar with the, what are they called? The big balloons and stuff like that. I think what they are is, I think there was like
hydrogen balloons, whatever they're called.
No, what was they called?
Like Led Zeppelin.
The Zeppelins, no, whatever they were. But yeah, there's lots of old pictures of Tartarian buildings that have got like stairs. Like the top of the Eiffel Tower, for example, was a passport control to these balloon towers and stuff like that. So like, I think what actually happened.
The Zeppelin, right? These things.
Yeah, these things. I think these things were a big part of history, but there's probably something else before that, you know. But just before aeroplanes, that was a popular thing. And I think the Nazca lines, I think that was like a welcome mat from Peru. If you can imagine, like a few hundred years ago, people were like, oh, people come and visit our country. There was no such thing as passports back then, so people were free to travel wherever they wanted. You probably find tourism was a big part.
No one was up there. No, this is like 4,000 meters in the sky. It's not. It's a country away from anywhere else. It's miles up.
Yeah,
no one can up there. No one can. There's no water. There's no vegetation. There's nothing. These things can only be there to give some sort of message to the sky gods. In my opinion,
in ancient history, Peru is like one of the the founders of a lot of like the old religions and civilizations. You know, Machu Picchu is up there. You know, some of the like biggest monoliths around the world are actually in Peru. So there's true. You know, so I would think that if I think they're welcome mats. I think the Nazca lines are a welcome mat that were put on by people to see, you know, because they're too perfect. You know, if you look at ones like that, you know, like you just shown there on the screen with the bird, you know, like they're too perfect. You would need to have a bird's eye view. But the thing is because of the way that technology is now, we can't comprehend the fact that maybe there was something in the air before, which is why it's so uncomprehendable.
Yeah, aliens was there before. That's what my take is. I think they're aliens.
You think they're aliens?
This was there to welcome aliens, to let them know, listen, we've got monkeys over here. You might want to come and check them out.
Well, maybe there was people, maybe tourism was traveling around, like people from the more developed countries were traveling to Peru, you know, to see these monoliths that are all over the country, you know. And again, like it feels to me like from my research, like I always wanted to go. I was meant to go to Machu Picchu when I was a travel agent. I got invited out with one of the tours that go from Cascal all the way up to Machu Picchu, and then you finish in somewhere else, you know. Like, it was like a 10-day thing, and they invited me out because I was such a good salesman. I sold all these trips and stuff, and then like I decided to move back out to Spain about a week before the trip, so I ended up not having the opportunity to go to Peru and do the Nazca lines. But they've always fascinated me. But it's one of those things I always got stumbled on, like, how would this make sense? You know, like in a rational mind, how would it make sense that all these things exist? Because there's so many of them. There's so many of these. And like I said, they've done new LiDAR and radar technology, and there's so many more that are just covered up by growth, you know, Earth, and, you know, like just been sort of rediscovered and stuff like that. But they've done new technology on them all, and there's so many. So I think personally there was a aerial technology that existed, and these were like welcome points, you know, for people coming in, you know, to the like Peruvian people that lived there. Maybe they did assume they were aliens because of the technology they had, but you know, that's why they made that big grand entrance. But when you come to Peru, like, yeah, in Nazca in particular, it's a good access point from North America down. So it would make sense to me that, you know, like I said, at the minute, I'm not an expert on it, but, you know, it feels to me like that's a welcome present to visitors that are coming in from other places in aircraft, not aliens.
I think it's aliens. I think it's aliens. What are you saying, Eugene?
Yeah, I mean, but from that perspective, aliens or some visitors, it'd be the same thing for the natives. Like it's like with the crop circles, right? It's some of them are fake, some of them have been, were done by the people thousands of years ago, and some were like the geometric shapes. They were done by the UFOs. Because when I think I was watching a show when they were looking at the wheat or like at the crops, if it's man-made, it would bend in a certain way, but where the geometric shapes were, they were like burned down or something or whatever. Like it was an interesting explanation. But actually, like on these ones, on Escalines, I agree with Nikos. I'm a big believer in Graham Hancock's theory that there was an advanced civilization or multiple, and
Yeah,
I'm
aliens.
sure they had some technology that right now we have no idea what it was. So whether they could fly or whether it was something else, but for sure something
aliens,
else
though,
was
right?
involved. Was that?
Why don't you go straight to
One
aliens?
of you please fucking just say the word yes, Sean. Aliens. It
You
all
keep
comes
saying
back to
aliens.
aliens. What are we doing
I mean,
here?
it's possible. I mean, I'm sure aliens were involved, but whether this was done by aliens or whether it was done for aliens, that I'm not sure.
What's
Yeah,
more,
there's always aliens are involved in the story somewhere. So let's
Oh,
just
they're always involved.
you've got this sexual obsession with aliens. What's this obsession with aliens? Like, what's more
I love
plausible,
aliens.
like, from a realistic, like from a critical mind point of view? What's more realistic, that there was ancient civilizations that lived on the earth, that were people like us, that had technology like us, that's just been reset through cataclysms, or aliens that we've never seen, we've never been able to prove? There's no scientific there's no scientific proof that these things exist, you know, other than the last 80 years of cinema and movies that are presented to us and TV shows, and, you know, people that have made a buck off of pushing the narrative that this weird race of things fly in from outer space. What's more actually plausible? Because to me,
mate, the universe is too big. There's too much going on. I know you don't believe in the universe. I get it. I know you don't, but I do. And so I'm of the mindset that it's too vast. There's too many things going on. There's hundreds of billions of stars. The idea that we're by ourselves here is mental to me. I think that there's so much life. It's prolific. I just think that either it's all too far apart from each other to really really mingle, or the motherfuckers that can do it have also got the technology to hide without us being able to see it.
Yeah.
You know?
In the conspiracy world, this is the 7th cycle of Earth. In the conspiracy, some circles believe that there's been 6 or 7 previous civilizations that have been reset through cataclysms, and we're living in the 6th or 7th cycle. So this is how you explain, like, the Great Pyramids, you know, things that they can't explain, you know, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, you know, all these, you know, things that are around the world that they can't explain. It's just there's been civilizations that have lived here before, but unfortunately there's an event that happens when they're taken out and they leave remnants of their culture here, you know.
No, I believe in that as well, though. I definitely believe. I believe that there's people. I believe that there are ships that are under the sea. I do believe that there's life that's been here thousands of years, longer than millions of years or whatever. But I also believe in cataclysms. I definitely believe in the in meteorites or whatever coming in and wiping us all out. I definitely believe that the Great Flood happened, probably many times. I definitely believe that the pyramids are wildly more older than we think they are, because of that guy, not Graham Hancock, the other fella who's an expert of archaeology at Boston University, who looked at Robert Schoch. Yeah, was his name?
Yep.
Robert Schoch, is that his name? Yeah, he's looked at the.
I don't know about the first name. Yeah.
He's looked at the around the lion head, and he's looked at the sort of the erosion around it, and he says the only thing that could make that make sense is through water erosion, but not through rain, through basically flooding. And of course, it doesn't make sense if it's as old as they say it is, because there's no registered, recognized levels of flooding that long, or that far back. So I also think that what used to be the lion used to be something else. They carved his head to look like something else.
And
Is-
also
is it-
the head is
dog before,
smaller.
wasn't
The head is not proportional to the body, so that's why they're thinking that somebody found it. Same thing with the pyramids, right? Like, it's supposed to be, when technology improves, you build a pyramid or you build something, and then the next iteration is supposed to be better, better, and better. But the way in Egypt with the pyramids, it was getting worse, 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 and worse. The later pyramids were much like worse and primitive, which doesn't make sense. So
The just to throw another 2 pence in there, like there's, again, depending what you believe, but there's floodgates in the firmament, from what some people believe. And you're familiar with the story of Atlantis, I'd imagine, probably you've come across. There's in the Sahara Desert, there's a formation, the rickshaw, that fits Plato's description of Atlantis perfectly. So
Yeah, the rings, right? The rings of the thing. Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
If you look on a map from space of the Sahara Desert, you can see that, you know, around that area where, you know, the rickshaw structure is in the Sahara, that the land has been completely washed away. You know, if you pull it up now, can you put up a map of the Sahara Desert or Africa, North Africa, or something like that, and you could see it. It's like the
Yeah, I'll
color.
get it here. What's it called? Sahara Desert. What's the place? What's it called that we're looking for again?
It's called the rickshaw. The rickshaw. It's what some people speculate is the remnants of Atlantis. But if you can just do Africa from space or something, and put up a map from Africa from space or something like that.
This is it, isn't it? The Richat structure.
Exactly. Yeah. Mate, all my pronunciations retarded. Forgive me.
That's all right. Here we go. This bad boy.
This would just add credence why maybe that some parts of North Africa were underwater at some point.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be exactly the same thing as what. Here we go. Perfect. That's what they said Atlantis looked like. And then they found this bad boy.
Yeah, the only recorded description of Atlantis was by Plato.
Yeah. But now they're saying Antarctica as well. That's possible. Atlantis was there. That's another theory.
There's definitely something going on with the Antarctica. 100%. That motherfucking place is like riddled with secrets.
Like,
Antarctica's the wall that goes around the edge. It's the ice ball.
I heard. Well, I don't want to derail this, but
if you can put up, if you got a map of Africa there, Sean, from space or something.
While we wait, Nikos, have you heard of philosopher Jason Giorgiani? Man, so I posted it in our group chat. He was on the Jason Michael spot. Man, what freaked me out, like his theories and about how the world is and the consciousness and like our purpose here. Man, listen to it when you get a chance. Let me know what you think.
Is he modern? Is it someone modern? Is it someone who's alive today?
Yeah. He was on the pod like recently. He's really, really good. He goes into like the Nazi tech, the kind of like the aliens, like the consciousness, like God and Satan, like that relationship. Very dark. Check it out. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, this area here.
Cool.
Yeah, this would have
been
one.
On the left is what Atlantis was supposed to be. On the right is what literally is there in the Richat structure thing, right?
Exactly. In Plato's description, it disappeared overnight. So one of the theories in the conspiracy world is that the impact zone of the floodgates opening from the firmament hit North Africa. So that's what basically destroyed Atlantis in one night, in 24 hours. And if you can, like, again, if you let people do it in their own time, but if you actually find like an actual satellite photo of North Africa, you can actually see that there's like a land washed away, like the northwestern part of Africa. It's like washed away. That's where all the Sahara is. It's all like this white sand. You can just imagine like a big amount of water rushing towards the ocean that impacted around this area. And
yeah, but how do you explain like meteorites then? The one that we've captured on camera that came into Russia.
Again, this is a good one because people seem to think about meteorites as a way of justifying that we're living into space, but the firmament is, you know, it does let off small amounts of debris, you know, because they've been trying to break it for fucking ever. You know, Hillary Clinton's quite famous for saying breaking that glass ceiling. You know, it's quite a common phrase that they use in these power circles. I think the when the
Isn't that
firmament
supposed to be about politics? Like women don't get.
is, I
I
think
know
she
at the time I thought the same when he said it. When she said it, like she
yeah,
said it
no,
twice.
it's a reference to breaking the firmament. So when they talk about breaking the glass ceiling and stuff, like it's a reference to trying to break the firmament. They've been trying to break the firmament. I think this is what Elon Musk is trying to do. You know, he's trying to send rockets and they keep bouncing off of it. So like, I think meteorites maybe are some type of debris that is the blue ice. Like it's a very not quite navy blue, but it's a very dark shade of blue that is gradually breaking. You know, there's bits of it, it's very thick, you know, like it would make sense that maybe when one of these pieces falls down, it creates these things that people refer to as meteorites.
All right, Operation Fishbowl was a series of high-altitude nuclear tests in 1962 that were carried out by the United States as a part of the larger Operation Demonic, maybe, nuclear test program.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we saying here then?
So basically, Operation Fishbowl was one of these experiments where they've been trying to break this firmament. So they've been trying for decades. You know, like they keep sending things as far as they can to try and break it. But they, as of yet, they haven't broke it. But if they do succeed in breaking it, we're going straight underwater. So yeah, that's what Operation Fishbowl was.
So you're fully in on the fact that the waters above are not just a prehistoric misinterpretation of rain. Where does rain come from? It comes from the waters above. You're fully on board this thing, are you?
No, I believe in the cycle of rain. How, you know, we learn how rain is. You know,
No, I know. Sorry, I'm not saying that you don't believe in rain. I'm saying that people that like in the old days when they said the waters above, I think that they come to that conclusion because they didn't understand rain.
Exactly. It's as above, so below. So I believe underneath the earth there's water, and above the earth there's water, but we're enclosed in some sort of type of like dome. So, you know, there's gates that are functional to be able to be opened, and this is where the stories, like you mentioned earlier, like the great floods come from. These gates open at some point, somehow, some way. There's a mechanism for it to, you know, and this would be one of the reasons why you could justify the cataclysms of 6 or 7, you know, civilizations in our history. There just, you know, seems to be like an excess amount of water now. So you can find underneath a lot of the sea and a lot of the oceans, you know, pyramids underneath the sea. So I feel like we've gone through a lot of cycles of these gates opening and the water's risen to a certain point, but we've not experienced anything like that in the last 400 or 500 years, as far as I can sort of tell.
So
Do you believe
the
that the
remote,
poles?
so that I was saying, the remote viewers in that Stargate program, a bunch of them, all of them said 2050, the sea levels are going to rise by like 300 feet, which probably assumes the ice in Antarctica is going to melt, and it's going to be a peak for everybody. But
Yeah,
2050 is the year.
They chat shit.
Yeah, the only reason the ice is going to melt if it does is because these motherfuckers are pumping the skies full of shit. Like
Or impact.
they've got a get out of jail free card when they say, "Oh, it used to be called global warming." That didn't work because then it cooled down a little bit. So they went, "Oh, well, it's just climate change." And then everyone, well, everyone agrees that the climates have always changed, but is it human caused climate change? Well, they've got away with it because like it's not necessarily me not throwing my aluminium Diet Coke can in the bin. It's because there are humans that are driving around, flying around planes, pumping out aluminium phosphate and baromium into the atmosphere for God knows what reason, to reflect the sun or to increase the heat of the planet, whatever, to do their weather warming, weather engineering, whatever they're doing. That's also human orchestrated. Therefore, they're not lying when they say, climate is changing because of human conditions, but it doesn't mean because we're not recycling our plastics.
Yeah, most countries around the world have now got geoengineering programs. So the US and UK in particular have a lot, but Australia has a lot. You know, those Commonwealth countries seem to be, the prominent ones in geoengineering programs. But if you look up in the sky, mate, when I was a kid, you never used to see clouds in straight lines. It's become more obvious, in recent years, But yeah, they're doing stuff to the sky. They're spraying chemicals onto people. If you do you believe the sea levels are rising, Eugene?
I mean, I think there's a natural cycles.
Can I tell you how you know? No, they're not. Are you familiar with Plymouth Rock in Nova Scotia? It's where Christopher Columbus apparently, I think, first landed in America.
Yep.
Yeah, it was 2 inches above sea level, and they inscribed the date on it, 16 or whatever it was. The date they put on it. Do you know how many inches above sea level that is today? 2 inches. The same 2 inches that they stepped on. So if the sea level, Plymouth Rock.
It says here, this is the traditional site where the pilgrims are said to have landed from the Mayflower in 1620. Though there is no historical evidence to support the claim that they first disembarked on this specific rock.
Yep.
Let me see the fucking picture.
Get a picture of it. And there's a picture of it. There's pictures of it going back for like 200, 300 years. You can find pictures of it from 300 years ago. If the sea levels were rising, that rock would be underwater. But
there are no other structures that, because like underwater, you see like cities underwater, islands, exactly. Right? All the structures.
This goes back to what I was saying before about when the floodgates open. It's like a massive flood event that takes over the whole world. And this is how you explain pyramids underwater. But it hasn't happened in the last 400 or 500 years, from what I can tell. Maybe go back further. But Plymouth Rock is, like they said, the Pilgrims. It's one of the first landing places in North America in the 1600s. And that rock is still visible today. People still go to visit it. It's still exactly the same rock in exactly the same place. It's got a date inscribed on it. Yeah, there you go, 1625.
I definitely know that, what's his name? Barack Obama, who was a big proponent of the whole, Miami's going to be underwater in 2025. He went and bought like a $50 million a house on Martha's Vineyard, right on the coast. Back in 2016, 17, when he left office.
Yeah.
He's been there for the last 8 years, and you wouldn't do that if you were genuinely thought that the oceans were going to rise, right? Because these people
would be assumed to be informed as well. People like this, like Oprah Winfrey, she owns a lot of land on coastlines around North America and some parts of South America, Hawaii. If you generally was under the impression and was informed enough to know that at some point the sea levels are rising, you wouldn't waste your investment. You'd actually buy inland. So the fact that these people are spending money in expensive mansions in Malibu and upstate New York and stuff like that, it tells you that we haven't had an event where the sea levels are rising. So climate change is not a real thing, but they are initiating some sort of type of climate event by spraying it with all these geoengineering programs.
I mean, a cataclysmic event needs to happen, like an eruption, right? A super volcano or like a meteor, which would melt the ice caps. And if that's the case, then everybody's screwed. But on its own,
do you believe that nuclear weapons exist? Or did we have this conversation last time? I forget.
I think we briefly
about nuclear weapons.
Yeah, of course.
No, don't say it.
Yeah,
I don't think Nikos believes in nuclear. I think we all believe in big bombs. But I think the nuclear ones. But this is it. See, I believe that the aliens have come and shut off a lot of the shut off a lot of the nuclear weapons. I remember seeing Elon Musk had a rocket that was going to take off, and then the thing blew up in its launch pad, in its launch thing, and they had like the camera that was watching I think it was Elon Musk's. I think it was for Starlink, and they had a camera that was watching in super slow mo. And then literally just before the thing's about to take off, this little orb like shoots into the background, like fires something at the giant rocket, and then fucks off. Like, fly by, and then fucks off out the corner, and then the whole thing blows up. Let me see if I can get the video of that, because it was wild. I think that's why I think those things are aliens.
Yeah,
there are many examples of that.
People like me don't discredit the fact that big missiles exist, but Eric Dubay actually has a really good video. We spoke about Eric Dubay last week. He's like one of the kings of the flat earth, but he's actually started posting more content over the last couple of months on his YouTube channel. And he actually done a video called "Nukes Don't Exist," and he's very articulate. He's a lot smarter than any of us, probably all of us together. And yeah, I would suggest that anyone that's sort of questioning the idea that nukes don't exist, maybe go and watch his video, because the way that he breaks it down over 20 minutes is relatively conclusive. You know, big missiles, ballistic missiles, bombs, stuff like that. You know, they exist. We're not discrediting that. We're just saying that a nuclear weapon doesn't exist. So when you look at the Hiroshima videos that they provided us from, you know, the mid 1900s, that it looks like, when you look at it now, that it's two separate explosions. It looks like one explosion hits the ground and one explosion starts in the middle of the air. Is that the
I want to show you. I want to get your thoughts on this, guys. If you haven't seen this before, okay?
Go on.
I'm going to try and zoom it, speed it up. So this is the rocket that's blowing up, right, at its launch. Let's get past that. This is all live recorded, and then they're gonna go through it again. Here we go. Watch it. Look at the top thing. See just across the top. This thing shoots in from the right hand side. See it?
Yeah.
I'll rewind it again. Look from the right hand side. See that thing shoots in out of nowhere. The thing fucking blows up and then it fucks off. Let's see if they do that in slow mo. This is legit.
Could that be something off the actual rocket though? Could that be part of something that's just sort of thrown into the air?
It flies in from the right hand side. It's a fucking orb. It's like a UFO. Typical UFO.
Eagle. It's a bird.
That's not a fucking bird.
Superman.
It's a UFO. Let's see if it does it. See if it does it in super slow motion.
Yeah.
That looks like the orbs in the Skinwalker Ranch dogs. It looks.
Look how fast it is. It's going across so fast that you can't even see it in real time. You have to slow it down in super slow. Look, bang, and then over it goes, and then fucks off. That's not a bird. That's a fucking UFO that didn't want that rocket going wherever it was supposed to go.
Maybe there is a race of people, like things that live here on this earth, you know, and they don't want them keep shooting rockets at the fucking firmament, you know. So maybe they're disabling some of these projects, you know.
And actually, so Nikos, so as far as the nukes, I think there are like 300 or 400 cases, recorded cases of different people, both in the US and Russia, that talk about the nukes being disabled and the bases. Like I think in Russia, there are like a bunch of cases. When the Soviet Union collapsed, I think a lot of the investigators, I forgot his name, but he went to Russia to talk to all the generals, and they had like detailed records about the UFOs messing with the nuclear bases. So I mean, there are a lot of different people, whistleblowers. So I don't know. I mean, the craziest thing is they even records of Nazis testing nukes in 1943. So even before the US had nukes, the Nazis had nukes.
I think what a lot of people refer to as nukes are actually also known as chemical weapons. So I don't think like an actual a weapon exists that, you know, explodes and can kill, you know, a country, you know. But I think there are weapons out there, you know, we've seen in the past, you know, like that exist that can do a lot of damage, you know. You know, places like Chernobyl, obviously they, you know, have grown back. All the trees have grown back. You know, like you still can't go there. Still no visit zone. But you know, if that was a nuclear weapon or whatever they say, a nuclear explosion or a nuclear power station explosion, whatever it was, like a lot of what they say is not actually correct. You know, like. Did
you see the animals there? They have like cats with like 3 heads. They have some crazy mutations in Chernobyl.
Maybe.
And you know what?
Chemical weapons. Chemical weapons explains what we refer to as nuclear weapons.
The craziest thing is, I was born in the city where it was. It was like 200 miles from Chernobyl, and that day we were on the beach.
So much.
I know, and we got lucky that the wind was blowing in the opposite direction, so the radiation went the other way.
Oh, that's lucky.
Yeah. You're lucky, mate. Lucky. You wouldn't be here otherwise.
I mean, some would say that, you know, the wind.
Imagine how boring our WhatsApp group would be if you weren't around, mate. That would be absolutely horrendous.
Exactly, exactly. I keep it going, but
let's have a little look. See another video, shall we? Let's see what the video is going to throw up. What's this one going to do for us? Let's have a look.
In order to collaborate on a large scale, you need to convince everybody to believe in the same story. What really the engine of history is stories, and they don't even need to be true. Some of the most powerful stories in history were fictions.
Right.
But you need to get everybody, or at least a significant part of the population, to believe in the same story. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Science is not really, at least this is my view as a historian, science is not really about truth. It's about power. The real aim of science as a project, as an establishment, is not truth, it's power. Particular individuals, particular scientists may be very interested in the truth, personally. But as an institution, the real aim of science is power.
Those who own the data really own the future. Mm-hmm. We are reaching a point in human history that we have enough biological knowledge and we have enough computing power, and all you need in order to systematically hack millions of people is just the data. Mm-hmm. That to hack people means to know people better than they know themselves. Right. To somebody in San Francisco, in Beijing, knows you, knows more about you than you know about yourself, about your medical condition, about your mental weaknesses, things that you did 5 years ago, 20 years ago, you completely forgot about them, they know it.
Right.
This is something we never faced before. Not even the KGB could do it.
Right.
And we are already beginning to see the emergence of such total surveillance regimes in places like Xinjiang, in places like in my own home country in Israel. We have this big laboratory of surveillance called the occupied territories, where you have 2.5 million guinea pigs of how to completely survey and control a population with very few soldiers. I mean, when you look at the numbers, it's amazing how few soldiers you need to control millions of people if you have their data.
Is it Harari or what's his name?
Yeah. Harari,
I mean, there is a conspiracy that he's a part of the Illuminati or whatever.
He's definitely a part of it, mate. He's a scary fucker, scary bastard.
Isn't he part of the World Economic Forum as well?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. Yep.
And they're the biggest problem in the world. Johnny boy, welcome back to the channel. How are you, my man? Good to see you, buddy. You okay?
Like Sean, yeah. Evening, gents. How are you?
Nice to see you, sir. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Good. We've been talking about you missed out on the Nazca lines. You missed out on the firmament. You missed out on nuclear weapons, a UFO that flew across a rocket and blew it up, and why. And we've dabbled with Atlantis as well. We haven't really dabbled too. We dipped our toe in the Atlantis thing, just because we were looking at the ratchet thing in the Sahara. And at the moment, we're just looking a little bit at that guy, the guy from the World Economic Forum, who's literally speaking my own pain, because I was hacked. I am hacked. I've been hacked for a long time, and these bastards know more about me than I know about myself. They probably know what time I have a wank, what my favorite type of material would be, and they probably sit there and go, this isn't for him. Like, you wait, he's gonna flick the page in a minute, because this isn't going to satisfy him. He doesn't realize it yet, but they know more about you than they know about yourself, you know.
And anybody that represents the World Economic Forum is like the worst form of salesman. Remember, I said I've got like these red flags as well for shit salesmen. Like the World Economic Forum was like the worst ones, you know, like they're so bad at what they're doing. But this just kind of emphasizes the point that I think I and Eugene spoke on last week, that the science has been hijacked. Like science itself is not what we think science is. It's like power. That guy said it there with his own words. It's power.
Yeah.
So like if they control what people think is scientific, like they control the future. This is where like the climate scams come in. Like we control the science, you know. We're not going to tell you about all the stuff we're pumping in the air, but you know, this is what the future is, and it's just a form of unfortunate control. But that guy there, whatever his name is, what's his? I'm not sure. Ari something.
Harari. I think it's Harari.
Yeah, Harari.
Yeah,
Sapiens. That's actually a good book.
Yeah, anybody, if a guy like that says something, doing the opposite of whatever he says is probably closer to the truth, you know?
But like, it's the same thing as the religion, right? Like, I believe in the scientific method because that's science. But science as an institution is the same thing as being spiritual versus an organized religion, right? Those are different things. Organized religion is there for control, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be spiritual. So I think like I believe in this scientific method, that it's important, but science as an institution Yeah, it's there for power, for sure.
Wasn't it in that Dan Brown book and the film Inferno? When
Yeah.
it was, I was going to call him Obi-Wan Kenobi then. Ewan McGregor, he played, wasn't he like the Pope's right-hand man? And he said about science being the next religion, like the world religion, one world religion only, and it's going to be science.
I mean, it is religion to
so
some people, right?
Science is the pursuit of knowledge, right? And knowledge is it's the Antichrist, if you like, because the idea in the Bible, the whole idea was you don't eat from you don't eat the forbidden fruits, and that the devil or the serpent on the serpent in the tree said to Eve, why should he keep all the knowledge for himself?
Yeah, well, a bunch of freaks actually set up a religion called Scientology. I don't know if you've ever been on that subject, but a bunch of rich freaks set up a religion like 50, 40 years ago or whatever. And it is a case of if you can control what people think is as science, it kind of again takes you further away from faith. So if we can disprove your faith with science, which is prepaid for in full, you don't really have a leg to stand on in a sort of articulate argument when there's data. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't have much faith in science these days. I believe in science and theoretical tested science. This is where the flat Earth comes in. If science was so important, then curvature would be provable. But the fact that we can't prove curvature, we can just look at NASA pictures. Science doesn't seem to be that important at that particular moment. That's one of the most important subjects ever. So why is science cherry picked?
Yeah.
Talking about the WEF, they meet in Davos, don't they? Is that right?
Yeah.
Every year.
That was in Game of Thrones, wasn't it? Davos. That's where the rich bankers are, where they financed all the wars and all that.
Exactly. Is it Switzerland? Is Davos Switzerland?
Yeah.
And they wear like funny outfits.
Not easy to afford a hotel room in there at any time of the year, but during that particular couple of week place, it's a block.
My partner said the other day, she went, we should move to Switzerland. I'm like, you do understand, like Geneva and Zurich, like the most expensive cities in the world, right? Like the getting into Switzerland alone, like it's one of the most difficult things in the world, mate. You need so much money, you need so much influence. But the reason why Switzerland is so important, from a historical point of view, is obviously a lot of the rich families orientate from Switzerland, but also it's a landlocked country. It has no borders, so it's easy to protect, which is why they live there. Or they've lived there.
Yeah, there's mountains surround it as well, don't they? So it's pretty good. Yeah, exactly, 100%. Let's pivot to another video. See what we got coming up on this one.
Let's go.
What we got? Let's go for this one.
What you're about to see is what happens when you don't comply with the agenda.
I'm in the middle of traffic, bro. Would you look at this shit, bro? Look, I can't. Everything is locked. Cybertruck deactivated. Look at this shit, bro. Cars all on the side of me, bro. What the? Bro, I gotta call a Tesla, bro. What the? Bro, like, what the fuck? I can't move the car, bro. I'm stranded as hell no, bro.
Says Tesla Cybertruck deactivated. But he got a cease and desist letter. So apparently that's a rapper. His name is, I think, Big Huey. And because he was filming his music video using this Tesla, but he was doing things that Tesla don't approve, they decided to deactivate his Tesla. So that means you buy it, but they control it. In Washington, D.C. now that we have control. Everybody who's not complying, shut off their electricity. It's all smart meters, deactivated. All these new vehicles, GM, Chevy, Ford, Tesla, they all have smart assist and smart controlling computers. Shut them off. You're going to get into your car, deactivated. So you try to go back into your house so you can call somebody and your garage door opener doesn't work. Deactivated. Your front door won't unlock. Deactivated. Try to call on your phone. Deactivated. You are deactivated.
This is old news. This guy, where has he been for the last 10, 15 years? This is old news.
The Cybertruck
is going to happen.
A year.
Have you seen in the UK? They did this a couple of years ago, maybe like 8 years ago. They gave everybody a tax break if you bought a diesel car, and then that lasted about 2 years, and then they basically said that's not going to happen anymore. And then, by the way, your car, I think if you've got a petrol car and it's like older than 2006 or something, then that's basically got to be scrapped, or it's not going to work near the London, the clean zone, whatever it's called. But if you've got a diesel car, there's no diesel cars now that are allowed to be exempt of that, the clean, wherever that clean zone is called in London. And the same shit's happening with Tesla, with electric vehicles. They made everyone go and buy electric vehicles and say that it's tax-free. And now, as of 2027, they're putting a tax on electric vehicles. And because their vehicles are heavier, because of the batteries or whatever, they're now saying, well, they're more taxing on the road. And that's the responsibility, or the potholes or whatever that are mad. The potholes in London or across the UK are crazy. And they're now saying it's because of the electric vehicles. And so if you own a Tesla, not only do you no longer get tax-free status, but you're now going to have to pay more road tax than if you had a petrol car.
Exactly. The funny thing people don't realize, about these electric cars, especially Tesla, is that a replacement lithium battery, which is one of the rare earth metals, like commodities out there, is more than most people's actual value of a car. So to replace, last time I checked, it was like 12,000 quid or something to replace like a Tesla lithium battery. Like most of them fall under warranty. Like Eugene just said there, that guy's video is years and years old, but the Cybertruck's only been out for 18 months, 2 years, whatever it is. So the thing about it is that they do control with the computer your car. Like that wouldn't happen with a Ford XR2i. No one's telling you can't go nowhere. You can't stop me driving anywhere. But with these electric vehicles, it's all one computer program, and there's someone sitting with their finger on the pulse ready to tell you can't do something. It's just again.
But it's sort of an EVs, Nikos. Like I'm saying, it's old news because even the regular vehicles, any Ford like SUV, there is a computer chip, right? They're ran by like Microsoft operating system, or so it's been happening for a decade. Even gas cars have the same issues.
Yeah. This is why they try and get rid of the old cars, like the old classic cars. Like I think in the UK, that zoning that Sean was talking about there in London, if you've got a car that's 40 years old or older, you're exempt from MOT, you're exempt from road tax, and you're exempt from that toll, that carbon toll, whatever it is, when you go through London. So like if you've got an old like classic car, you don't have to pay that, whatever it's called, like that fee when you drive into London now. Like you're exempt from
ULEZ fee, right? ULEZ or whatever it's called.
ULEZ, that's it. Yeah, you're exempt from all of that because your car doesn't qualify. So they've done everything they can over the last 20 years to try and get people away from petrol cars to inevitably put them onto electric vehicles. So like this is why a lot of the old cars, I don't know if you've ever looked into the price of old Sierra Cosworths or Ford Cosworths, or if there's anybody in the chat that likes these old 80s, 90s, real petrol engine cars, like they've gone through the roof. There's a small, like select amount of people in the UK that are like stocking up on these types of things. You don't want people telling you we can't go anywhere. The last thing you want is to go and buy a $40,000 car or pound car like Tesla, and then get 15 miles down the road, and then a big red button flags up on the monitor that's on the front saying you've hit your carbon footprint for the day. You're not getting home today. That's what it's all about. So yeah, they've basically been weaning people off of petrol engines because it gave you a sort of sense of real freedom in the car. But this is why
I love my Tesla though. I'm a hypocrite.
Oh, you've got a Tesla?
Oh yeah, two. Well, yeah.
Oh mate, you'll remember me in 10 years' time. Mate, you'll be remembering me, mate. I tell you, you'll be remembering me.
I'm an early adopter. I got it just when it came out because. Again,
what do you do for work, Eugene?
Tech.
What sort of tech?
I just manage engineering teams, like software. So. Are
you a coder?
No. I'm not a good coder. I'm a manager. I'm one of the people who doesn't have any real skills, and I manage others. I used to be a coder, but not a good one. So
it's like one of those things. Those who can't.
Exactly. No, I just manage teams and engineering teams, and I run programs and projects. So
this is why this
cargo are going to get on.
Yeah, this is why this marketing program of Elon Musk to send a car into space, all this kind of stuff. It was a clever marketing scheme to get large amounts of people onto the Tesla program, like Eugene. And then eventually, you know, a large amount of people will be on the X phone. The next thing he's going to bring out is a phone. And people will inevitably switch from Apple when they start raising the tariffs on Apple, or they start, you know, making it difficult to own an Apple iPhone. You know, you'll be given a Tesla phone or an Elon Musk phone, whatever he calls it, you know. And then it'll be the same thing with the phone. You'll be turned off if you don't comply with whatever it is that you need to be compliant with. This is why you need your basher. You need your Nokia 3310s, you know.
I've got one. I've shown there. There you go.
I used to have a Sirocco. Until about a year ago, I used to have a Nokia 8800. Yeah, mate. Yeah, you need those.
Still got it, bro. Still got it.
And pay-as-you-go SIM card.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Always.
No one's turning you off. No one's turning you off. But if you know you do something that doesn't comply, mate, you put a comment on the internet, and you know your Tesla stops working, or your phone stops working. You know you're fucked.
Tesco's have changed my tariff. They've gone. I was on a pay-as-you-go tariff on my phone, and then now they've sent me a text message saying we changed your tariff. We're updating it, making it easier for you. For the first month, we'll give you a free like basically a gimme of a few gigabytes, whatever. So I phoned up to try to renew it, and they go, "Oh, you can't do that. You've got to download the app now and do it via." And I'm like, "Oh, you want my details, don't you? You don't want me. You want me to not know. Oh, so you want to know who I am." And I've got to log in and set up an account. I didn't sign up to your fucking shitty little service for that. The only reason I signed up was because I didn't have to do it. I was anonymous.
Do pay-as-you-go SIM cards still exist in the UK?
Yeah, but apparently you can't recharge them anymore. So, you know,
here in Spain, it's a big thing. Like since I've lived in Spain, I had a contract for the first year I moved here, like years and years ago. But I've always been on a Lebara SIM card, and it's literally €5 a month. I'll top it up, go down to the internet cafe, top it up once a month, £5. It gives you unlimited data. You know, like I never need anything more than the €5 I put on it. That's all it cost me. And no one knows it. It's registered to some random person or whatever. Like it's, you know, no one's gonna ever dial in. If anyone's watching, sorry, but you know, no one's ever gonna be able to dial in and go, "You know what? He's doing that YouTube video with Sean. Like, let's turn him off." You know, like. Yeah, mate. It's just control, unfortunately, mate. There's so many elements to it. It's not just the cars, it's the phones, it's, you know, it's everything, mate. They're going to try and control in every way they can, you know. There's the goal is the 15-minute cities. In the UK, this will be the first experiment, I think, because it's such a small country. But the 15-minute cities where they will tell you can't go here, you can't do this, you can't do that.
But you know what, Nikos? There's powers that be, they always want control, right? It's not their fault, it's our fault. People would trade in their freedom for convenience, and that's where it's going. So there's always forever, there are some people who want to be in charge of everything, but right now people are just, they'll be like, you know what, here's our data, here's this and that. So it's the fault
but they
of
take away your. They start off with the convenience thing, and then they leverage it and they take away what you have. Like someone explained to me what the tangible, visible, actual benefits are of CBDCs to the end user. I know what the benefits are to the systems of control. They want to be able to, you know, take a little bit of a merchant fee out of every single transaction. They want to be able to see what you're buying, see what you're selling. They want to basically tokenize your money and tell you what you can and can't sell.
Yes.
I asked ChatGPT, I said, explain to me what the benefits are. And they went through it. I went, no. Explain to me what the benefits are to me, not to the government, to me. And they went, oh, ease of use. You know, you can basically like, you know, have your bank on a phone. I was like, I can already do that. I said, well, it's also there for the unbanked. I said, well, rather than having like, why don't the people that bank me, if they want to make it easier for the unbanked to be able to be banked, then why don't they just open up their ability to make bank accounts available to those people? There is absolutely no benefit at all apart from quicker transaction times. But those things don't affect 99% of people. Yeah. So they're saying it's a one-way train. Like it's going to happen. Get on board it. Digital currencies are here, and we know where it's going. But like, there's absolutely no debate about it. There's no one anywhere on the mainstream media that's even remotely questioning whether or not it's even slightly dangerous and whether there's any benefits. They're just saying, oh, yeah, it's going to be much better. Why?
Yeah, there's literally
fast enough as it is. Thank you. Fuck you for your changes. I want a CBDC.
Yeah, for the layman, you know, CBDC, central bank digital currencies, they're there for their benefit, not for a consumer's benefit. There's not one single consumer benefit that I've ever come across. But what it does do is it eradicates black market cash trading. So drug dealers, for example, they can't do their business anymore without being touched by the bank. Anybody that deals in cash in any type of way or shape or form in any kind of like commerce, it eradicates you, and it also gives them oversight on every single transaction that you physically do, from the smallest ones to the biggest ones. But it also gives them license to implement money straight directly into the system. They do that these days with stable coins and crypto. Like, you might be familiar with a stable coin called Tether. I'm sure you probably come across this.
Yeah.
But Tether basically prints money out of fresh air and injects it into the crypto ecosystem. And there's not any tangible asset that backs it. Right now, most countries, they have to have a physical commodity that backs their currency, until quantitative easing comes in, or, there's mechanisms where the banks can print money out of fresh air, but it is a controlled legislative way of them actually putting money into the system.
Yeah, the financial market is about, at some point, whether it's in the next 6 months or the next 6 years, at some point before, in the not too distant future, there's going to be wherever you thought 2008 was, times that by 10, because you've got a few different things going on at the same time. You're absolutely right, Nikos. You have money printing galore from Tether and other stable coins. You also have cyclical funding in the AI trade. Obviously, I'm big into trading. I know you, Nikos, are as well. So you have like 40% of the US stock market right now is entirely 40% of the entire value of the US stock market is caught up in 7 companies called the Mag 7.
Yeah.
The Magnificent Seven. And they're basically all tech companies, Eugene, your fault. And they all basically cyclically fund each other. So like Nvidia, who makes all of the chips that are used for AI, they get all the contracts. They then make these massive partnerships with OpenAI and Microsoft, for example. Microsoft then takes the money that they get and then and puts a massive order back into Nvidia, who then takes that money and sends it out to a partnership with Amazon. Amazon then partners up with Microsoft. Microsoft then partners back in with AMD. AMD then uses Nvidia's chips alongside their own. And all of this money just gets cycled around the same 7 companies, like massive multi-billion-dollar deals. And every day that there's one of these things announced, it looks like, to the average person, look at all this money that's piling into this AI trade. And so every day you get one of those stories that prints, all of them go up 2% or 3% or 4%, adding trillions or billion, like multiple billions, hundreds of billions of dollars to the valuation of those 7 companies, which, because they are 40% of the overall stock market, drags everything else up because of things called ETFs, which are exchange traded funds, which are essentially things that mimic the stock market. So you could invest £1,000 into an ETF that essentially mimics the FTSE 100 or the S&P 500 or the whatever, the NASDAQ. And so every pound that goes into that, they then have to then distribute that money into those stocks to buy those shares at that weighting to make sure that they, and that then in and of itself, all that money going in pulls the shares up even more. And it's just one big giant push-pull effect that pulls everything up, all based on the same money that is really insignificant, that's just getting shepherded around those 7 companies. When that rug gets pulled, and it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's going to be absolutely cataclysmic. The entire financial system is going to implode overnight. And with it, everybody's pensions, everybody's money, everybody's savings, everything is going to evaporate, poof, into thin air, and there is going to be chaos. And that is when they're going to say, time for CBDCs. It's the only way to start again. Exactly. And then you're all going to go, okay, save us, almighty warlords from WEF. It's terrifying what is going to happen at some point.
ETF stands for Electronic Trading Fund, right? Yeah. So what these ETFs actually do is they actually
exchange traded fund.
Okay, they actually like custody the commodities. So whatever it is that you're buying, they're meant to be like the custodian of the property. So a lot of these actually have like housing contracts, and you know,
Come on,
similar
guys.
to 2008, the subprime market, you know, crash was actually from bad mortgage contracts. You know, so a lot of these ETFs are actually tied into like the housing market as well, which is one of the biggest commodity markets in the world.
Don't even get me started on the Chinese housing market.
Exactly. Yeah. Mate,
You're such a downer, Sean.
Mate, imagine what will happen to the US. Imagine what will happen to the US housing market when all of this goes poof, like you say. I agree with everything you said, Sean. Like everything you just said there, I think it's coming in the next year, maybe 18 months. It has to happen soon.
Well, they're going to kick the can. They'll kick the can down the road. They'll print more money, and they'll write public checks, and there'll be bank bailouts for those companies, whatever. But it will all collapse in on itself at some point very soon.
Yeah. They've been doing that for decades. They've been doing this for 30, 40 years. You know, our parents, you know, lived in that beautiful life period where there wasn't such a, you know, a huge deficit on what was about to happen. But yeah, we're living in this biggest bubble. You said it before the show, you know, the stock market's all-time highs, housing market's all-time highs, inflation, you know, like things go up for a certain amount of time, mate, but when they come down, you know, especially after they've been up for so long, it comes down hard.
Come on, guys. I'm just getting into options right now. Don't give me, you know, I just bought QQQ calls. Fantastic. Come on, boys. What are you doing? What about my real?
Mate, again, I don't know about you, but me and Sean sound like we know what we're talking about when it comes to trading. I've been in the financial market for the best part of 35 years, mate, 30 years. You know, I know Sean's been in there the same sort of type of time, you know. Like,
where were you 2 months ago? When I was, you know.
Why did you buy QQQ? Just out of curiosity.
I just bought some calls, you know, for just weekly calls.
Invesco, yeah?
Huh?
Mate, as long as you own something physical, as long as you own something physical, own something physical as well. So, like, buy your options, you know, put up that fiat money into stuff, you know, like, let it go up. But we're at an all-time high in everything. The stock market is an all-time high. It doesn't.
How about some good news? Any good news out there? You guys are such downers. Are there any happy conspiracies, or is there a definition of conspiracy? It needs to be sinister by definition.
No, there's not. There's different places you can hedge your money, mate. Like the only thing you hedge your money in right now is probably some of the commodity markets, apart from gold. I would say, you know, right now the safe bets are silver's always a good bet. Physical, there's always a barter program that can be happened with it, but you don't want to be putting your money into electronic all-time highs. You know, like in stock markets and stuff. You know,
physical
whenever
you've got money, buy physical land.
But physical land, that's it.
It's a scarce resource, but
yeah,
that's unrealistic for most people, for sure.
Yeah, the only thing about physical land right now is you've got to own a property outright. I mean, in most countries here in Spain, you can buy a property outright. I can go and buy a house for 300 grand, but I only get a 99-year ownership on it. So, like, I can live it in my life, but my kid will go through a bunch of problems down the line that he's not actually the title owner of the land. So
yeah,
you don't actually really own it. You're borrowing it.
That's leasehold. That's often the case in the UK with buying apartments, but with houses, you still get.
Why is that?
It's most of the market here. It's most of the market here. Again, the thing about Spain is a lot of it is apartments, but you know you can't buy too many properties here with an outright ownership. You know there is a certain type of way of ownership. You'll probably be familiar with it, Sean, where you actually put it into a trust. So if you can buy it in an offshore trust. There is a way where
there's a family trust and you remove it from the inheritance.
There's a particular document you can ask for when you buy it, and it actually offsets it away from this particular type of program. But the majority, 99.9% of land here owned in Spain, is actually owned in this ownership model where after 99 years, it's not yours no more. You know,
those things are like it is shit that you buy property and then you don't own it freehold, like with an apartment, for example. But like, you know,
so why would you spend all your money? Why would you spend all your money, all your time, all your labor trying to acquire a property that your kids are going to have?
But it's 99 years, mate. Like, just fucking buy it anyway, and then just like let someone else let your great grandkids figure that shit out. You know,
that's the thing is as well. The thing is you're susceptible to a market crash. So if there's a market manipulator, like we say with the market makers, and they're going to crash the market at some point, you're actually risking losing more than what you've invested in the property. If there's a negative market, you know, and you're negative equity in your house, not only are you going to lose everything you've ever worked for, you're actually going to be fucking homeless and out of the bank. Being a renter, like I personally rent, I've always been reluctant to buy anything personally, like even though I've had the opportunity to do so many times. I've always been like, nah, I'm happy to pay my rent, and if something changes, I'll move somewhere else. And I've always got that flexibility and freedom to move around. But you know, like the point of it is like, unfortunately, like all markets right now are uncontrollably high, and nothing ever goes up forever. What goes up must come down.
In States, it's different. In the US, it's especially with the housing market, especially like where I'm in California, like Silicon Valley, it's so like artificially high because in the US, the real estate market is propped up artificially because most of the savings of everybody is in the housing market. Like it's in their houses.
Yeah,
so that investment wise, at least here, that's the best investment because the prices will always be kept in long term artificially high. And they go up in value. Your property goes up in value like crazy.
To play devil's advocate, if you was one of these controllers of the world and you wanted to do most damage financially to everybody, the housing market is where you would start. You know, if you wanted to
if you can, like, don't never take out like a 0% mortgage, like 100% mortgage. Never do that, right? Never ever do that.
Never doing 120% mortgages at one point.
Yeah, it's madness. Everyone just thinking that the house price is always going to go up. You see people get carried out on the stretcher with that shit. Never do that. In an ideal world, if you've got intentions to stay where you are, if you're happy where you live, and you can put together the scran to get a 25% deposit down, 30% deposit, then you're probably going to be okay in the long run, because as long as you've got that 30% wiggle room, you should be okay. Because most of the time, house price crashes are temporary. It's called what's it called? Elevator up. Stairway up, elevator down. Right. So it does this all the time, and it goes quick shoot down, and it climbs again. But
my first apartment, I had to walk away because it was 100% loan because I barely got my first job, and then it crashed 2008. So I'm like, I'm out. I walked away.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Johnny boy, you all right, mate? You haven't said a word in about 15 minutes since you've come on.
Yeah, that Tesla video reminds me of that film Demolition Man. Do you remember when Sylvester Stallone gets brought back? Isn't he cryogenically frozen or something? He gets brought back to find Wesley Snipes, the criminal who escaped from prison.
That was a great movie.
He swears, doesn't he? And you hear this like automated voice. John Spartan, you have been fined 100 credits.
Yeah. Using the seashells to wipe his ass or something. Yeah. He didn't work out how to do it. I remember that. Yeah.
And then he swears about 10 times to get the paper to wipe his backside.
Sandra Bullock as well was talking about how you have like sex and stuff like that. There's a certain protocol for sex. And, oh, mate, that's where we're heading. Unfortunately, mate, they've told us in all these movies for a while.
Did anybody ever actually figure out how the seashells work? By the way,
yeah,
I always wondered. I never thought. There must be some Reddit chain around how they would have made it work. You know?
Yeah, I'm not going to make it public though. It's going to be a members only reveal.
Mate, OnlyFans reveal.
Yeah, nice. Only cans. That's what we do here.
Cans, yeah.
Should we roll another video quickly? How's everyone doing for time? Has everyone got 15 more minutes?
Yeah, 15, 20 more minutes, mate. It's perfect for me.
You all right with that, Eugene?
I don't, but I'll stay.
Oh, good man. That's what we love about you, buddy. That's what we love about you.
Yeah, my kids. My kids can be on their own.
Nice.
All right. So here's what you want to look for. Well, here's what you make sure you don't want to see on your apple. When you have a 4 there, that means it's covered and coated in pesticides, and it's covered with a wax. So every time you eat an apple, you're eating a layer of wax and plastic that's around the apple. Only get your food that starts with a 9, not a 4.
Oh, yeah.
John, what are you saying, mate? I'll let you go on first on this one, mate.
Yeah, it's a bit like a toffee apple, isn't it, really, with all that stuff around, the glaze around it. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
Carnivals. Most fruit, anyway, is just like a high percentage of sugar these days. If you remember fruit, when you were really young, it didn't taste like it does now. Every fruit, like a banana, is like pure sugar. It's extremely high content in all fruits these days. So
how are they doing that? What are they manipulating in the banana seed then to make that happen?
GMO seeds.
But bananas, bananas originally had seeds in them, didn't they? They had black seeds, whereas you look at them now and they've got nothing in them. It's
bananas don't have seeds anymore.
They're firing blanks.
They've hit the farmers. Most farmers have to grow with a certain specific type of seed. So most farmers are actually given a list of things they can grow with in terms of like seed banks and stuff they can't grow with. So most of the seeds now that are in circulation are GMO seeds, so modified seeds. So most of it isn't, you know, given anywhere near the type of nutrient benefit that it used to. So this is why it's so important. And there's two ways you can live life. There's an expensive way and a cheap way. A cheap way is down at Lidl, an expensive way is down at the like local farmers market and stuff like that. But you know, like that guy said there's like levels 4 to 9 in terms of like numbers. Who would have ever thought you'd go to buy an apple and you have to like look at the number on the side of the apple to decide if it was like better for you or not? You know, like.
I wonder what's in that crap. What's in that wax? You reckon that's it's like carcinogenic, probably, no doubt, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be something that's gonna be bad for you for sure. It's gonna be some type of like the guy said, it's like a pesticide, a chemical. You know, the more of it you consume, the worse it's gonna be for you. You know, over a period of time, that's gonna eat away at your immune system. It's gonna, you know, cause you all sorts of types of cancers and stuff like that. I would have thought, you know, so you just got to be so careful with your food, mate. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't eat fast food. I'm very picky about where I buy my produce. You know, very picky about where I buy my meat. You know, like I'm very conscious, you know, about a lot of the food that, you know, I try to consume, you know, but you've got to be these days because these companies.
Unfortunately, I'm too lazy, mate. I still get a takeaway 3 or 4 times a week.
But in Europe, the food is better. Like in the States, the food is shit. Plus, like the cereals, a lot of the artificial colorings that's illegal in Europe and Canada is legal in the States. So the food here is terrible. Like even pasta or pizza, like the flour is terrible. The fruits taste like cardboard. Every time I go to Europe, the fruit tastes different. Pasta doesn't make you fat. In the States, everything is terrible.
Everything's poisoned in America, especially the bread. One thing you didn't mention there was the bread. In America, like here in Spain in particular, bread's like a mainstay in all the diets because it's like something you can buy every day, like a fresh baguette. Like there's nothing like a fresh baguette with some sausages or, you know, a nice cheese baguette or whatever. But when you go to America and you buy a baguette, like it's sugary, you know, like there's just a complete difference. You know, we went to Miami a few years ago, you know, buy my kind of like normal routine stuff. It's just like, it feels so fake, you know, like
the flour when I moved to America, that's the thing. It makes you fat. It's just like, it's processed. The flour is, and actually, so because my health issues, when I stopped eating white bread, bleached flour, I feel much better because there's something in there.
Oh, when I first moved to New York from Australia, in Australia they've got really like clean health food standards, and I think cleaner than the UK. When I first got to America, I'd go to the local Safeway or whatever and buy your chicken or whatever, and my skin broke out in like hives. I had like eczema and all sorts of shit, and I realized I was like, "What the fuck? I'm not done anything. There's nothing wrong. It's not like the air, nothing I'm drinking or whatever." And then I went to Whole Foods for like a week and ended up paying like $10 for eggs and shit. But Whole Foods over there is basically just normal food in the UK. You know, but you pay 3 or 4 times more expensive for it because the food standards is absolutely insane. So poor.
It makes the prices as well, mate. Like again, when I went to America a few years ago, I went into one of these. I stayed in Miami, the financial district, begins with an F. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. But I went there and there's like a Walgreens or some sort of type of like commercial supermarket there. I went in there and bought like enough for like a few days, like 4 or 5 days worth of stuff, like to put in the fridge in a hotel. And it's like bread, cheese, some juice, some crisps, you know, things like that, you know, like not even cooking, just things to keep in the hotel room. And it was like $80 or something, like $90. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and here in Spain, like I can buy a whole week's worth of food for like 30, 40 euros. And it includes all the best meats, all the best vegetables, all the treats, all the drinks, all the juices, a few beers, you know, like the prices of food in America for what they're providing you with, like, I think 4 apples. I remember back then, 4 apples was like $12 for 4 apples. Like I can buy 12 apples here for like €1.50.
Did they have wax on them as well?
What's that, Johnny boy?
Did they have wax on them as well in America? Did you?
They didn't have numbers on them. No, I didn't notice the numbers.
Like you're eating lunch at Madame Tussauds.
I didn't know that was a thing. Like they don't send out like a memo to people saying, oh, by the way, when you start buying apples now, there's a grading system. Here's the grading system chart, and here's what you get for each of the grades. Like they don't tell people this shit. You just got to listen to some fucking idiot on TikTok. Like.
Maybe
Yeah,
they
a lot
did
of information on TikTok or Instagram specifically. Let's do 2 more videos, guys, and then we'll round it off, right? Because everyone's got an early start tomorrow. Let's have a look at this one. I'm not sure what this one is. It looks like Family Guy, but I don't know what it is.
Norway farmers are fucking pissed. Government just made it illegal to feed their cows unless you add a toxic chemical owned by BlackRock.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would they do it?
Apparently, cows burp too much methane, so by 2027, Norwegian farmers must feed them a chemical called bythe to reduce emissions, or lose government funding.
They're forcing it? Is it even safe?
Farmers have to wear gloves and masks just to handle it, and while studies claim it doesn't enter the milk, there are no long-term studies on the cows, or on us.
Sounds super reassuring.
And here's the juicy part. The company behind the chemical, partially owned by the Norwegian Oil Fund and BlackRock.
BlackRock again? Do they own like half the world?
Pretty much. The whole thing is set to be a $2 billion market in Europe alone, all for a green solution nobody asked for.
So let me get this straight. Instead of supporting eco-farms, which naturally emit less, we're inventing chemicals, writing laws, and funneling money to giant corporations.
Bingo. 40,000 Norwegians signed petitions against it. Vets say it's BS, but the law passed anyway.
Why does this feel less like climate policy and more like corporate lobbying in a cow costume?
Because that's exactly what it is. And next time your milk gets pricier, don't blame the cow. Blame the suits behind the burps. Follow for more truth about modern society.
Yeah.
It's just poisoning. It's just, they're just poisoning people, mate. And like by...
they're doing though, they've also, so like, there's a load of farms around me, right? And they used to grow corn. On the farms where I used to take the dog for a walk. You would have seen the cornfields on the Spurs talk show videos last year or 2 years ago. And they've stopped doing it. Now they've turned it into wildflowers, right? Which is like just basically it's like a desert. This desert with like just crappy flowers that are growing. And I spoke to the farmer and said, like, what's going on? And they said, oh, the subsidies now don't support planting corn. Oh, like what? They're paying you more money per acre to just plant bullshit. And there you go. I think it's a Norwegian person here saying, didn't know this shit. Yeah. Good luck. I'm sure it's the same here, mate. I'm sure it's the same all over Europe. But they're also like, not only that, they're trying to like demonize the cow because obviously they don't want everyone eating cow anymore. They want everybody eating bugs and shit, right? But in the UK, they're basically they're stopping the farmers, or they're making the farmers choose between a lower price per yield on the corn versus a higher subsidy from the government to grow nothing. And what does that mean? It means less corn, and that corn isn't used for human food; it's used for animal feed. So if there's nothing there for the animals to eat, then there's no demand. There's less demand, or there's less ability to grow cows because it costs too much money for the animal feed. So it becomes uneconomical, and therefore that's the reason why your price of steak is now £25 for a 6-ounce sirloin.
Exactly.
Meaning everyone gets weaned off of red meat.
This ties into the climate taxes that people are going to be, subjected to. The staple of choice of meat in people's diets is cow. Regardless of your religion, around the world, the highest percentage of meat that people consume in their diet is cow. So, like, if you can bastardize the cow and you can make it out like it's, you can actually charge a higher climate percentage of your allowance. So that the cow will be a lot more unattainable. So the first way they go about implementing these carbon taxes and getting people constructed onto really shit diets is by taking them away from the thing that they actually benefit from. People benefit from meat, and cows are a good source of protein. But if you take that protein away from people and start charging them, or not even charging them, it's more telling you what you can't consume. Like, I don't know if you know how many hamburgers a day McDonald's sells, but I think they sell something like 70 million hamburgers a day. That can't all be cows, surely. Like, can you imagine how many cows you need to that's 17 million hamburgers a day. They're just controlling people, and they're just aligning people.
What do you reckon they're made of then?
Plastic, goo. Some people say that it's something else, but whatever it is, it's Imagine
Imagine if there was like a breaking news story that McDonald's get outed for horse meat.
Not
And
just
that's
horse
with
meat.
that Burger
man.
King as well.
What's that, John?
That's with that Burger King as well. You got to add that to it.
Yeah. So just
McDonald's sells over 60 million burgers a day per
I think
year.
it's like 68
Sorry,
million a
burgers
day
per year.
worldwide. Yeah. And the thing about it is, well, if you've ever worked in like one of these like fast food franchises, again, I've had many jobs in my life. Like I'm quite privileged to have seen many different sort of types of the world. Like you have to, as a franchise owner, import that burger meat from the supplier. You can't go out and source your own burger meat. Like it's all provided to you by the franchise owner, which is again connected directly to the owner of the company. So like
it says here, sorry, quickly. McDonald's sells an estimated 7 million burgers a day, not 67. So 7 million burgers a day worldwide.
Yeah, I thought it was 60 million a year. Something like that, wasn't it? Oh.
Way more than that. Way more than that. I'm telling you. Way
Yeah,
more than that.
that's
Please say more than that in
that
Barcelona.
sounds small, like a small number.
All right,
Do you
so
remember when
McDonald's
mad cow
sells
disease?
2.3 billion burgers worldwide each year. A single cow can yield up to 2,500 burgers, depending on the size of the patty.
Okay. So what did you say it was? What was that number that you said?
2,500 burgers per cow.
Okay.
And then 6.5 billion. Sorry, when was it? 2.3 billion burgers worldwide. This is just McDonald's.
Crazy. So that's saying it's like 18 million a day, it's saying worldwide. If that number you just said there was right, that's 18 million a day. But I again, it depends on where you get your source of information from. Like again, I used to work in the industry. Like I'm under the impression like McDonald's alone sells something like 60 million worldwide a day, and they have to cater for it from like a specific warehouse. There's a particular route for receiving the produce. Like, do you know about the French fries as well from McDonald's, the Burbank potatoes?
No.
Yeah. If you basically are a franchise owner of McDonald's, you have to buy your French fries from one particular supplier, which comes out of America, and they supply Burbank potatoes. That's why they're always the same color, the same cut, but they're highly, highly bleached. So like, no matter where you own a franchise, like I lived in Dubai, and it's a really good McDonald's, don't be wrong. Like the best McDonald's I've ever had in the world was in Dubai. But they still have to use the same supplier of Burbank potatoes, which is in North America, as a franchise owner. It's fucked.
Do you guys want to just finish up on? By the way, we were looking to get over 65 to beat the records. I saw 75 people were in the house at one point, so we got a new record on the show. Come on, the rabbit hole ramblings crowd. Big up to the chat. Please smash the like button, subscribe.
The next one we need 100. The next one we need 100.
Half of them are from WF. They're spying on.
Yeah,
they're spying on us.
10 dialing in, making sure they're capturing my VPN number. Listen, we've been quite well behaved tonight. It's been a little bit finance, a little bit kind of normal stuff. Let's go off the rails on the last one, John.
Yes.
Do you know anything about the Red Shoes Club, Johnny boy? This is the skin of children, isn't it?
Yeah, I've heard about that for a while. Yeah. Let's have a look at that one then. What, next week?
Oh, we can do it right now if you want to do it. We've got 10 minutes. We've got 10 minutes. We've got 7 minutes. So 7 minutes to go. 6 minutes to go. The Red Shoes Club. We'll dip our toe in it. Pardon the pun. The Red Shoes Club. Let me see if I can find a picture. It's all of these billionaires that get together, and they apparently all wear. Can I find a picture? It's not going to have it on Google. I have to go onto Reddit to find it. In a nutshell. The papal shoes are red-skinned shoes, and there's this like conspiracy that all the billionaires get together in Bohemian Grove on one of their nights, and they all wear red shoes. And there's loads of pictures of them all putting their red shoe forward, and the shoes all look a little bit weird. Like they don't look like normal red leather. They look like they're incredibly odd, off color, not particularly well put together, but they're all wearing it anyway. And the kind of conspiracy around it is that those shoes are made from the skin of sacrificed children.
There was a David Bowie song, wasn't there, called Red Shoes? Put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
Yeah. There was, yeah. Eugene, why'd you screw your face up? You're not ready for this level of conspiracy, mate. You're not ready. We're just getting. Listen, tonight's been lightweight. In a couple of weeks' time, once we all get comfy and cushy, we're going to start going into one or two topics in a lot more detail. We're going to be covering Bohemian Grove. We're going to be covering Bilderberg. We're going to be going back over Saturnalia, because that one is an absolute beast with all this kind of sacred geometry, 666, all this stuff. Eugene, you better get yourself ready, mate, because if you screw your face up at the idea of like children's skin on someone's shoes, mate, that's nothing compared to what we've got in line for you, buddy. Nothing.
See, that's how the show is. You're the host. Nikos and John are the conspiracy guys, and I'm a skeptic. I just ask questions. So that's the setup. So
you're just trying to protect yourself from the hack that's coming
exactly.
your way.
Hey, again, I'm just asking questions.
Again, for the record, I'm a lone wolf, mate. I'm not associated to anybody on the panel, so come for me, not for them.
A financial advisor either.
Again, I'm a financial advisor, but I've done very well financially. The Red Shoe Club, the Pope wears red shoes.
Yeah, he does,
yeah. Pope wears red shoes notoriously. He's got one particular red shoe maker. Like there's someone that specializes in making red fucking shoes, believe it or not, actually in Rome. And
what are we doing here?
Yeah,
you can't do better than that. You're the wealthiest organization in the world.
He can't afford a brand new pair of fucking Louis Vuitton.
You can't do better than that now. What are we doing?
Yeah, he's the most, the richest person in the world. Like the Vatican itself, like the Catholic Church own a third of all land property around the world, and he can't afford a new pair of fucking brand new Louis Vuitton shoes or something like that. But the Red Shoe Club, it's like a nod. They have these nods to each other, and that was one of the more visual nods that they use to the associations. You might have come across the picture of one of the Rockefellers and Maddie McCann's dad. I don't know if you've ever come across that picture.
Yeah. Exactly. He's in it. Yeah, he's in the Red Shoe Club, isn't he?
He's in the Red Shoe Club, yeah. When one of the Podestas, actually, it was one of the Podesta brothers. If you type in Podesta and McCann.
Listen, there we go. That's the picture.
Yeah. See, I know my shit, mate. I know my shit. This club.
That's Madeleine McCann's dad. That is John Podesta. Yeah. The other Podesta brother is John Podesta and Paul Podesta. And Paul and John Podesta were Democratic Party advisors for the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Exactly. It's not Paul Podesta. I can't remember what the other guy's name is. It's not Paul. It's he was the guy that had the emails. He was the guy that had all of the Hillary Clinton emails on his hard drive. But the Maddie McCann case in particular, it's quite common in the UK for people to be familiar with it. But Maddie McCann was a young 3-year-old girl that went missing in Portugal, and that's her dad there standing
Tony Podesta.
Tony Podesta. Exactly.
So Tony Podesta has got a bunch of fucking really weird art in his house. And John Podesta was best mates with Huma Abedin, who was Hillary Clinton's best friend. And Huma Abedin was married to a guy called Anthony Weiner. And Anthony Weiner was the geezer who went to prison for sending sex pics to some child. And then when he got arrested, his laptop got subpoenaed by the FBI. And some low-level rank-and-file coppers in New York allegedly went through his laptop and found here we go, exactly, that's it, Jason T. Frazzle Drip. They found a folder called Life Insurance, and on it, there was a bunch of videos. One of them was called Frazzle Drip, and there was a load of others, and apparently the footage on there was so disturbing, so messed up, that they were all leaving the room being physically sick. And funnily enough, of those 8 or 9 police officers that looked at the folder, every single one of them is now dead. Every single one of them committed suicide by shooting themselves twice in the head, right? A double tap to the head with your own gun, suicide watch all the time. Not only that, but that guy, John Podesta, or Tony, one of them, there was emails that were in the WikiLeaks emails where he was talking to, or he received some email from some woman in Haiti who said, "Can't wait to see you over here. The house is all ready for you. The hot tub's been switched on, and don't worry, we've got three more people to entertain you: Sarah 7, Mark 9, and Jamie 13, or whatever. So they'll join you in the hot tub for some more fun." In the WikiLeaks email drips on Hillary Clinton's hacked email drive, some weird fucking shit, and both of those two were the face fits in the Madeleine McCann investigation, weren't they?
The interesting thing about that is actually brought up Haiti there. When Haiti had that big earthquake, there were so many children to this day that have disappeared. I think it's like 300,000 or 400,000 children disappeared in that particular short period of time because of the relief packages that were sent from the US. But a lot of these children disappeared. You know, the parents these days still got campaigns looking for their children, the people that survived and stuff. But the Red Shoe Club actually goes back for, quite a long time. Like, you might be familiar with the Wizard of Oz and the Ruby Shoes. You know, it's something that goes back a long, long way. But the popes have notoriously had red shoes. And they're said to be, from, like you said, kids or victims, skin that's sewn
We're
together.
ending on a high note.
Yeah, sorry, mate. You left this on a bummer, but
what a downer. Again, stock market is crashing. My options are going to be worth nothing. Real estate is going to be worth nothing. Kids are being,
I'm just wondering why you chose QQQ of all of the things to invest in. Why that one?
Not invest options. I'm not.
Yeah, well, why QQQ?
Well, let's take it offline. Just because it's fair. I don't know. I'm just learning. I got my sources. No.
Guess what, Eugene? There's an international break coming up, and Spurs are playing tomorrow.
Oh yeah, no, that's even worse.
Invest in
I'd
Spurs.
rather talk about red shoes than Spurs, to be honest.
We're gonna have a lot of time over the next 2 weeks to dig into the rabbit hole a little bit further. No football. John, I feel really bad, mate. You've been on the show for about 45 minutes and you barely said a word.
Yeah, I've just been enjoying taking it all in, and I'm going to watch the replay because I know I missed quite a bit at the start. So I'm going to get into the replay. And there was a few suggestions about what we should look at next week that look quite good, like Paul McCartney.
I said this to Sean.
Let's have a look.
We'll do Paul McCartney next week. We'll do Paul McCartney on.
Please.
What did he do? What did Paul do?
No, Paul McCartney died. Paul McCartney died in the 1960s. Sorry, John. And they replaced him with a guy called William. Spoiler alert. They replaced him with a
It's too much. Too much.
Now let me just put out there because he sets up perfectly for next week. There's a guy called William Campbell who won a Paul McCartney lookalike contest in the 1960s, who become the new Paul McCartney. The MI6 in the UK, they used their top plastic surgeons to make this guy become who we know now as Paul McCartney. But the original Paul McCartney from the original Beatles died in the 1960s, and the marketing side of it carried on. And there's lots of evidence that backs up the story that Paul McCartney actually died. John Lennon actually died fearing because he unfortunately put a lot of backwards masking in a lot of their LPs. Like if you try and buy an original Beatles LP these days, they're so expensive. I used to have like 3 or 4 of them. But
Wait,
the
why
original ones.
Why didn't they find a John Lennon lookalike? I mean, that'd be better.
Paul McCartney look like, because they say that they thought the brand was going to die. And one of the reasons why they say, because there was a memoir that come out from one of the Beatles that said that they feared that a lot of young women, because in the 1960s, the Beatles were like the biggest thing on the planet, you know. If one of them come out and died in an accident, they was worried that there'll be a lot of female suicides and stuff like this. But it was more to do with money. And again, to tie this in brilliantly before we go, is John Lennon set up a record label when Paul McCartney died called A Paul Corporation, APAUL. But they made him change it to Apple Corporation in the 1970s. And there's lots of lawsuits that have happened between Apple Corporation and what we now know as Apple, the company Apple. They weren't allowed to sell any music They weren't allowed to do anything with music at all until late 1990s. And the very first music that they provided onto iTunes was Paul McCartney. So not to throw it out there too much. And also one of the first products they actually promoted was headphones. It was headphones, their own Apple headphones. And the person who promoted that was Paul McCartney. So there's this royalties law or royalties battle that's happened between the ownership of the actual Beatles records from the 1960s all the way through to the early 2000s. And John Lennon was like the owner of all of it. So yeah. John, thank you for being here.
John Lennon being Steve Jobs.
And again, there's conspiracies out there that people have done comparison between the late Steve Jobs and John McCartney.
All right, we'll bring the evidence next time, Adam, though.
Yeah, but definitely great conspiracy. It's a great conspiracy that's not so gory and so.
All right, listen, on the next show, what we'll do is we'll should we each come with a conspiracy, right?
Sounds
and
great.
everyone's got to bring their own evidence. Everyone's got to bring their. I'll hand over the screen share. You can control your screen. You can bring up your documentation. We all get 15 minutes each. Eugene as well, mate. You've got to find your own.
Come on.
Do your homework. You got to do your homework, Eugene. You're the skeptic, bro. I want you to find the weirdest conspiracy that you're comfortable with and come and present it to us. Okay, that's what we're going to do next week.
If only school was like this.
If only school was like this, exactly.
I'd never have missed a lesson.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? What's our homework today, miss? I want you to find the weirdest shit you can out there on, I don't know.
Where would you have found it?
I'm definitely going for Saturnalia. Saturnalia to me is the one. I'm gonna go into Saturnalia on you.
That's a good thing for you, Sean. Well, actually, I definitely recommend anybody watching this, and you guys in particular, go and look at Eric DeBay's YouTube channel. He's covered Saturn and how it ties back to the Jesuit gods, and it goes back so far.
Yeah.
It gives you an insight into all of these subjects that we've covered tonight. You know, definitely look at Eric DeBay's.
I'm pretty good with the Saturn one. I've studied Saturn. I've read books on Saturn and the moon myth. I think the Saturn and the moon are in cahoots. I think they're they're up to something together. By themselves, they're nothing that special. Together, they're creating the illusion of which we call reality, and I think it's fucking us all up. But
we'll go into that in depth in another channel. But I'm going to write some notes down for Saturn for you for next time, and I'll try and enlighten you on what I think Saturn represents and where that comes from.
Predictions for tomorrow's game, guys.
Predictions for tomorrow's game: 2-0 Tottenham.
Scores.
I've got a feeling they're going to slap us tomorrow. I think we're owed one. I think 4 times in a year against Man United. You know, I've been a lifelong Spurs fan, and you know, I don't think I've ever seen us beaten 4 times in a year. So I'm definitely expecting a slapping.
Eugene,
1-1.
You miserable bastard.
Actually, 2-1, but I'll be positive, or 1-1.
Well, you were going to say 2-1 to United, were you?
No, 2-1 to us.
2-1 to Tottenham.
By the way, but just to wrap this up, now I'll be walking on the street, and if I see anybody wearing red shoes, I'll be automatically like, I will never, it's
suspicious.
Nothing is going to be the same for me now. Red shoes, I'll be cautious.
The last thing on the red shoes, are you familiar with a brand called Louboutin? It's one of the most expensive shoe brands in the world. Women notoriously wear them with the black high heels, and they've got the red soles.
Yeah.
That's where they get the reference point from. The reason why the designer, Louboutin, had the red sole is because it's a nod to the Red Shoe Club.
It's like secret handshake, just in a visual
There's
form.
lots of that going on as well. Like if you ever look into Tartaria, like the prehistoric buildings that are all around the world, I think we've touched on a few times before, the fire is a nod to this is an old building. It's been burnt down. This is experienced fire. It's been reconstructed due to a fire. The fire is the nod. And the people that redesign the buildings are someone and sons. It's like just a nod. They have all these little nods to each other. But the red shoe, Louboutin, is it's a nod to the Red Shoe Club.
Nice, mate. John, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go for 2-2, and I think Randall Kolo Muani is going to score 1. And the other's probably going to be a set-piece header, isn't it, from a defender?
Mickey?
And
Put him in the fantasy team.
Score, and Fernandez, he always bloody scores, doesn't he, against us?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Right, guys, I've got to go to bed. I've got to be up early in the morning. But thank you, everyone, for coming on. Johnny Boy, listen, sorry you didn't get a chance to contribute too much, mate, but lovely to see your face. And we'll get you back on, obviously, listen, after tomorrow, we've got nothing to do for 2 weeks. So it's going to be Conspiracy Theory Central. I can't wait to see it. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's been a part of the show tonight. We've got up to a new record, 75. We love you lot. Thank you very much. Make sure you come back. Keep a lookout. Hit the subscribe. I'll be letting you know on the various other channels that I've got when we're going live next time. But big up to Eugene. Big up to Johnny Boy. Big up to Nikos. Big up to you, the chat.
Big up to Sean.
We'll see you again. And as always, come on, you red shoes. I'm good.